Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. We'll be on the air in a couple minutes. Top of the hour break. Another day, no haircut. I'm thinking my wife doesn't want me to cut my hair. She wants me to keep letting it grow when the barbershop's open. Which I don't know. It takes too much time to get ready in the morning when I have hair. I keep my hair so short. I want to talk about that body slam that Kayleigh McEnany did yesterday. Oh my goodness, was that spectacular? Those press conferences are awesome. Welcome everyone. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be on the air in just a couple minutes.
If you are mentally incapacitated, so you can't make your own healthcare decisions, and you have a terminal condition, an end-stage condition, or you're in a persistent vegetative state, the living will tell your healthcare surrogate whether or not you want to be kept alive on a machine if the machine is the only thing keeping you alive while you're in those conditions.
Welcome. Good morning.
To have that so that your healthcare decision maker will be able to know what it is that you would have wanted. There are healthcare documents that are so important. It's called a HIPAA authorization and release. You've been to a doctor in the last, let's say 17 years since the HIPAA law came out.
Just waiting till we go online.
The HIPAA policy basically says that they won't share your private medical information with anybody other than other doctors, other specialists, other medical providers. The HIPAA authorization and release that you set up with your estate planning.
Trump always hires the best. Kayleigh McEnany, she's awesome.
You can share it with my spouse, my child, my brother, my sister, my
She's 32. She looks younger.
You want them to be allowed to access your medical information either by talking to the doctors and nurses and other medical staff or even getting your medical records.
I know, it's awesome.
Three of those healthcare documents are so important for everyone to have just in their everyday life.
Well, actually, 2 minutes till airtime. 2 minutes.
You are donating healthcare documents to people in high-risk professions. That's healthcare workers, first responders, and even those who work at animal clinics and shelters.
Yeah, I can't say enough for the people out there who are risking their lives. This is interfering with their families, and they are just real heroes out there who are taking care of all of these ill people. So we wanted to make sure that they have the documentation that they needed for their own planning for themselves and their families so that they would be protected. So we're offering healthcare workers, first responders, and those who deal with animals in animal clinics and animal shelters. We are offering them a free healthcare surrogate designation and a free living will. So all they have to do is and we'll take care of that for them. Again, for all of you who are doing those difficult work, handling that heavy load for all of us, we thank you very much. When you call the Siegel Law Group, we will give you a free consultation.
I do. I'm only going to play the one where she does the smackdown of the press. That's the one I'm going to play.
Call Barry Siegel's office right now.
Here we go.
Take advantage of that free consultation. It's toll-free. 1-855-FLA-3782. 1-855-FLA-3782.
She is awesome.
Online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
All right, here we go.
South Florida's longest running radio show.
Florida's longest.
That's 1-888 cocaine. And now.
All right, good morning, everyone.
And now.
All right, good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. It's Thursday. Oh, man. Wish it was Friday. I really need a 4-day weekend. It's not going to be this weekend, but I need a 4-day weekend. So much happening, so much going on. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. We are live weekday mornings from 6 until 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We broadcast live on the radio on AM 1470. That's right, AM 1470, 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, and 103.9 FM. You can also listen to us on the iHeartRadio app and the TuneIn app, searching for us by our station call letters WWNN. If you're in your car and you listen to us on the iHeartRadio or TuneIn app, again, search WWNN, 2 W's, 2 N's. You can plug us into the Bluetooth in your car and get us in all that stereophonic sound in your car. Welcome, one and all. And, of course, also watch us live stream and video right here from our new studio Searching for us by our station call letters WWNN. Oh no, I'm sorry. On YouTube, search Brian Craig. Hey, it's early. I really haven't had enough coffee. I've been up since 3. Actually, I woke up at 2:45. I laid in bed until 3, and then I got up at 3 and took a shower. It's just, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, I just changed the Wi-Fi. It should be better now. Oh man, so much going on, so much happening. You know, Kayleigh McEnany, the new White House press spokesperson, is she not the best? I mean, you know who she reminds me of in the press briefings? Yesterday was just spectacular. You know who she's like? She's like the days of Tony Snow. A lot of people don't remember Tony Snow. He passed away. He had cancer. And he was on Fox News Channel for a long time. He was very, very good. And then he left. And became the White House press spokesperson for President Bush. And he wasn't there for very long because he had cancer. And he was so good with the press. He was so good. He would go back and forth. He would call them out. He would question the press, which they don't like. And, you know, a lot's changed with the press since Tony Snow. You have a lot of bottom feeders that are in the mainstream media. And I watched Kayleigh McEnany. She is a rock star. There's no getting around it. Kayleigh McEnany, she is a rock star. She does so good. She's spectacular. And yesterday, she just did a total body slam of the press. And it's interesting, she's prepared in a way I've not seen other press secretaries prepared, not just with their talent and skill, because she has a skill that, Kayleigh McEnany has a skill that is not an easy thing to do with the media, especially these bottom feeders in the White House press corps. They'll ask a question, she will answer it, and she has the ability to keep them, if she chooses, to not take it any further and just go to the next person. She has command of the room. Now, she does have one advantage as a new White House press spokesperson. Because of social distancing measures during the era of COVID-19, there are not as many of these bottom feeders in there as normal, but it doesn't matter. They could have 1,000 members of the fake news media in there, and Kayleigh McEnany would do a great job. And yesterday, one of these lowlifes, I don't know what news organization the lowlife was with. He's in there all the time. I just don't remember what organization he's with. It doesn't matter. Is there really much of a difference between any of these news organizations? They all have one thing in common. They hate Trump. They're self-important. They're all trying to go viral. They ask questions not for the answer, but so that they can be highlighted and be viral on the Twitter. You know, and I haven't seen, what I'm really looking forward to is seeing Kayleigh McEnany deal with Jim Acosta. Because he's the worst, isn't he? Jim Acosta is the worst. He really is. But I want to play this one exchange. I have one clip of yesterday's White House press briefing with Kayleigh McEnany, and she's a rock star. You know, she's 32 years old. She looks to be about 25. And, of course, she went to Harvard, so she's part of that elite group. She went to, if you didn't go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, or Oxford, they don't want anything to do with you. So she's a Harvard grad. She did very, very well. Well, here she is yesterday, just a total body slam. I would call this a mic drop moment. She drops the mic and she leaves. They ask this leading question. She deals with it, and she's prepared in a way, like I've said, I've never seen. She has notes up there so she can go through things, which is cool. That's okay. She drops the mic and she leaves. And then the press like, wait, you're not supposed to leave. We're supposed to humiliate you. It's very exciting. I mean, I love it. The White House press conferences are back. You know, the media have been asking, where's the press conferences? We want our daily. Well, they have them back now, and Kayleigh McEnany is kicking their butt each and every time. All right, so listen, this is Kayleigh McEnany yesterday. Major mic drop moment. I love it. Now, if someone could tell me who this lowlife from the fake news media is, what his organization is, let me know. I recognize him because he's there all the time. They really should identify who they are when they ask a question. I know in the White House press briefing room, they all know each other. But those of us watching at home, I'm sorry, you're not household names and famous people. I know they all think they're famous, but they're not. All right, here it is.
Yeah.
Kayleigh, in a previous life, before you were press secretary, you worked for the campaign. And you made a comment, I believe, on Fox, in which you said President Trump will not allow the coronavirus to come to this country. given what has happened since then, obviously, would you like to take that back?
Well, first let me note, I was asked a question on Fox Business about President's travel restrictions. I noted what was the intent behind those travel restrictions, which is we will not see the coronavirus come here. We will not see terrorism come here, referring to an earlier set of travel restrictions. I guess I would turn the question back on the media and ask similar questions. Does Vox want to take back that they proclaim that the coronavirus would not be a deadly pandemic? Does the Washington Post want to take back that they told Americans to get a grip, the flu is bigger than the coronavirus? Does the Washington Post likewise want to take back that our brains are causing us to exaggerate the threat of the coronavirus? Does the New York Times want to take back that fear of the virus may be spreading faster than the virus itself? Does NPR want to take back that the flu was a much bigger threat than the coronavirus? And finally, once again, the Washington Post, would they like to take back that the government should not respond aggressively to the coronavirus? I'll leave you with those questions, and maybe you'll have some answers in a few days. Yeah.
Kayleigh,
Thank you very much.
You were prepared for that.
Okay, now somebody there in the press picked up on that at the end. This is a very interesting, I know, and she just leaves and they freak out. And the reason they're in a freak out is this was supposed to be the beginning of them tag teaming her and going after her. You know, like that woman in Airplane that gets hysterical and they all wait in line to slap her. Remember that? And she left before they could do that. But one of the reporters said at the end, you were prepared for that. And she was. She was prepared for it because she had these examples that she read from. Does Vox and Washington Post, New York Times want to apologize for this and this and that? So I don't know how she was prepared for that, because the reporter that asked the question certainly is not a friend of hers, doesn't want to make her look good, wants her to look bad. So why was she, well, I guess, how was she so prepared specifically for that particular question? Someone in the YouTube live chat, I saw the name Dusty Rhodes earlier. Dusty Rhodes was the greatest of all professional wrestlers, I must tell you. I was a huge fan of Dusty Rhodes, who's no longer with us. Oh, man. Remember Dusty Rhodes? The greatest professional wrestler of all time. They all talk about all these other people. Hulk Hogan, and they're doing a movie about Hulk Hogan. No one was Dusty Rhodes. Even Ric Flair was no Dusty Rhodes. But anyway, I don't know. How did she know that that question was coming? How was she prepared? I don't know. But it was certainly a great moment. You know, President Trump always hires the best. It's like Kayleigh McEnany has won The Apprentice, right? Because she was with the campaign. She's been on TV. I feel like a lot of pundits that are pro-Trump are still, The Apprentice is still going on behind the scenes. When you see a pro-Trump pundit on television, it's like they're competing in The Apprentice, and she won. Oh, yeah. So that was great. Isn't it nice to have somebody there? Sarah Sanders is nice and all, and you know she was okay, but she's no Kayleigh McEnany. And again, I would put Kayleigh McEnany up there with the Tony Snow press briefing times. Oh, man. Now, I got to tell you, someone mentioned Dusty Rhodes, so I'll take a moment to mention, Dusty Rhodes, the greatest professional wrestler of all time. How many of you out there remember Dusty Rhodes? That's right. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. And he used to be on, it was Georgia Professional Wrestling with Gordon Soley. That was on TBS. And I used to watch it every day before Chips. And Dusty Rhodes, now if somebody remembers what he did, let me know, because I can't remember. But Dusty Rhodes pulled off the greatest stunt in the history of professional wrestling. Dusty Rhodes did something, which I don't remember. If somebody remembers what this is, let me know. Call me on the air, 888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. Dusty Rhodes, greatest professional wrestler of all time, the American Dream, he did something where he was suspended from professional wrestling for a month. So, I don't know, there was some attack. He did something that was outside the bounds of the ring, and he was suspended from professional wrestling for 30 days. And the next day, this wrestler in a mask that no one had ever heard of before, called the Midnight Rider, entered the world of professional wrestling. And it was absolutely amazing. This guy, the Midnight Rider, he was wearing a mask, so you couldn't see who he was. He sounded like I said Randy Rhodes, not Randy Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes. He sounded like Dusty Rhodes, but he wasn't. He was the Midnight Rider. He had a mask on. And he came out of nowhere and entered the world of professional wrestling. And within 30 days, he was about to be awarded the title. The title after, at the end. And it was the day before the ban on Dusty Rhodes was to expire. And the Midnight Rider addressed wrestling fans sitting around a campfire saying that he would not accept the title and that he was retiring from professional wrestling after achieving his goal of 30 days of winning that title and surrendered the belt. And then the next day, Dusty Rhodes was back. Oh, man. That was the best. Anybody remember that? Dusty Rhodes and the Midnight Rider? Well, I don't remember. What did Dusty Rhodes do to get suspended? Anyone know? Oh, man. They should make a movie about Dusty Rhodes. Oh, and by the way, the Midnight Rider was Dusty Rhodes. Just in case you didn't get the story. It was Dusty Rhodes in a mask. But I can't remember what he did. If anybody remembers what Dusty Rhodes did to get suspended from professional wrestling for those 30 days, let me know. All right, listen, we'll take a break. Your calls on Kayleigh, McEnany, Dusty Rhodes, and a whole bunch more, because we've got a lot to talk about. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Give us a call toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631, toll-free call from anywhere. We'll take our first break of this Thursday morning, and when we get back, there's much more to talk about. Don't you go anywhere.
Chatting today with Frank, the owner of two magnificent Ace Hardware stores.
It was Georgia
Beach,
professional wrestling.
South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the sea.
Yeah, a lot of you may not know, Steve used to be an announcer for the WWF. When they would wrestle in Miami with Hulk Hogan and Iron Sheik and all of them.
Around the house. That's the big thing today. What's the difference of my experience if I go to Ace Hardware as opposed to these major impersonal chain stores?
Oh, there's a huge difference. The basic difference is customer service. We're an old-time fashion hardware store. We have experienced people that are working our stores. Our employees are just top-notch. They're very experienced. They know.
Yeah, he was a ring announcer.
When you're doing a project,
the
you
Four
can go to the
Horsemen.
store and you can get somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that will like to work with you.
Who was the guy with the Iron Sheik from Russia that would come out and do the Russian national anthem with the Soviet flag?
With the right material.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there are only two that are advertising.
Georgia and Florida, yeah, Gordon
We're
Soley.
talking about the Deerfield location,
Yeah.
quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough Boulevard on the west side.
You don't
of
remember
Federal,
Dusty
and of
Rhodes?
course,
Oh my
the
gosh.
Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
Attention seniors over the age
Cold
of
Stone
65.
Steve Austin. I
If
saw Ric
sunset
Flair
on time due to
wrestle
COVID-19,
once.
If you have recently lost your job or been forced into retirement and want to learn about all of your Medicare health insurance
hit Crockett
options,
with a
call
bat?
Debbie and her team.
I don't remember Crockett, but Bat sounds familiar. Yeah, the Midnight Rider. There's got to be videos of the Midnight Rider on YouTube. Dusty Rhodes in a mask.
To receive a free no-obligation education on all of your Medicare options. Iowa advisors are carrier neutral, which means they don't just represent one insurance carrier, they represent all major national carriers and will guide you through the confusing process to find the right plan for your particular needs. Free of charge. Call Debbie and her team right now. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
Oh man, welcome back everyone. I'm Brian. Oh, gotta clear my throat. I'm afraid to clear my throat and cough because in this current climate, people freak out. But we were talking about professional wrestling during the break, and a lot of people that are new to the show in the last few years probably don't know that Steve used to be an announcer for the WWF. I was so big into wrestling, man, when I was a kid. I don't know why I haven't watched this stuff they do now, but I was into it a lot, man, when I was a kid. All right, welcome back. So much happening. So much going on. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Oh, man. Anybody remember The Missing Link? The Missing Link? Who was the wrestler? See, Steve will know all this stuff, but Who was the wrestler who was Russian and would come out with the Soviet flag and would sing the Russian national anthem before every... Was that Ivan the Great? What was his name? I can't remember. All right, now listen, we're moving in this phase now where we're going to be moving back to normal. I know the liberals and the media, they don't want us to, they want America under house arrest. Basically, what the media want and what the Democrats want is they want America to become North Korea. And that means stay at home until no one ever gets sick again. Meanwhile, they can all go to work, but, the rest of you. There has been an amazing survey of research done in New York about the people who have tested positive for corona in New York. And there's an article in the New York Post. Let me read this to you. This is absolutely amazing. Listen to this. This is the New York Post. And, this involves sheltering in place. And there's a big question that's being discussed now. Is sheltering in place effective? Is it working? And, all the models were wrong. And, of course, Fauci and all these people will tell you it's not that the models were wrong. The models represent what would have happened if we did nothing. Okay? So, listen to this. This is in the New York Post. 2/3 of New Yorkers hospitalized with the coronavirus were admitted from their homes. A shocking statistic that defies social distancing logic, Governor Andrew Cuomo said Wednesday. I love it. Anytime they're shown to be wrong, they always say, that defies logic. The curious conclusion was reached in a 3-day survey of patients hospitalized with coronavirus. It was conducted this week and revealed by Governor Cuomo during his daily press briefing. 66% of the people hospitalized were at home, which is shocking to us, says Governor Cuomo. The same survey found that 46% of those who were hospitalized were unemployed, and 37% of those hospitalized retired. So that says they were not working. They're not traveling, said Governor Cuomo. These people were literally at home. Despite the twist, Governor Cuomo doubled down on his calls for social distancing and personal responsibility, especially as hospitalizations and deaths continue to trend in the right direction. It reinforces what we've been saying, which is much of this comes down to what you do to protect yourself, Cuomo told reporters at a Long Island hospital. Everything is closed down. Government has done everything it could. Society has done everything it could. Now it's up to you. And it goes on. But there's this huge battle now to open up or not open up. And I don't believe in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I think, boom, open up. I've been talking about this for weeks. I think people in this country have changed their behaviors enough that everyone's going to social. Do you go anywhere where people are not voluntarily, out of self-survival, social distancing? I rarely do. The only times I've seen people without a mask, I see millennials sometimes out and about without masks because we're invincible, we're millennials, But other than them, I see masks everywhere. I see social distancing everywhere, So yeah, but when we get these numbers out of New York, that such a large percentage of people retired, unemployed, and were sheltered in place, staying at home, went nowhere. And my life, for the most part, my work life has not changed. Right? Here, haven't missed a show. Steve and I still have meetings with people. We meet with sponsors. We meet with clients pretty much every day. After the show, I get takeout every day. I go shopping. I go to all the stores except the ones at the mall. I haven't got my hair cut in a couple months. But other than that, I haven't gone to Disney World because it's closed. But I'm interacting just as much as I normally would. Now, again, people maintain their distance. I was over at Friendly Tire yesterday morning after the show. I ran into a listener, Sandra. Hey, Sandra. She was buying tires for her car and someone in her family, too, over there at Friendly Tire. Great deals over there at Friendly Tire. And I was talking to Sandra. She's a listener. I was talking, and was actually involved. It was a four-way conversation. Sandra, our listener, me, Friendly Mike, and one of the guys that work over there that was putting tires on Sandra's car. And we were involved in a conversation, the four of us. And what were we doing? Maintaining our distance. And you know what? We were all wearing masks too. So that's how things go. So open everything up. We don't need phase 1, 2, 3. Just open the whole damn thing up. Okay? Come on. Give me a break. And this survey in New York, where the worst of the worst happened so far as a hotspot, shows you, is sheltering in place really working? Why are so many people not working, not interacting, not traveling, retired, and sheltered in place, not leaving their homes, getting sick and hospitalized, as opposed to people that are out and about? Now, I don't know the answer to that. I don't have an answer to that. But it does show that, at least in New York, it's been a failure. It's been a failure. Probably because when people are sheltered in place at home, there's more close interaction. They're with family. In New York, if they're in a building, how many people are in the building? They're interacting in the elevators, which are small. They're touching the buttons. They're in the hallways. There's probably more interaction with people in a place like New York than if they were out and about outside in the street going around and everything, because they're in those buildings. And it's so what we're starting to learn through things like this is what people have suspected for the last few weeks, that in many instances, certainly in New York, the sheltered in place isn't working. And I'll tell you though, the mask culture we're in is so strange. This morning on my way in, I stopped off at Wawa to get coffee. And the guy in front of me in line was a young guy, and not only was he wearing a mask like everyone else, he was wearing a hoodie. And you know what? It's not cold. This is Florida. He had a hoodie with the hood up. And I had the air conditioning on in my car on the way in this morning. So, and I go with this guy, he's got a mask on. He's about 25 or so. He's in a hoodie with the hood up in Florida. And I'm thinking, just a couple weeks ago, if a guy walked into a gas station convenience store with a mask on and a hoodie, what would happen? What would happen? I went to the bank yesterday. I had to go inside the bank. And not only are people wearing masks, you're required to wear masks, and they had a security guard making sure that everyone kept their masks on while they were in the bank. And I took a picture and put it on my Instagram of me in the bank with the mask on. It's so strange. I mean, 6 weeks ago, if you walked into a bank and somebody came in wearing a mask, you would think it was a stick-up, right? And just like this guy with the Trayvon Martin-looking hoodie on with the mask this morning in Wawa in front of me, I mean, we're in a strange situation, and it's very Twilight Zone-y and very weird, but it is time to get back to normal. There's a story all over the place. Florida, except for where I'm located, is opened up into the phase 1. People are able to go into a restaurant and sit down throughout Florida right now. And there's a lot of photographs of people sitting down in restaurants without masks on, and people are having a freak out. How could this be? Well, how the hell do you eat a meal at a restaurant with your mask on? Can someone tell me how you do that? Of course the people in Florida that are eating in sit-down restaurants have their masks off because they have to have the ability to put the food into their mouth. And they've got these stories. I saw this. I put it on Twitter. Let me pull this up. These people, the media are just out of their minds, is what's going on. And they can't stand the fact that, things are getting back to normal because, do you know why the media are so panicked that things are getting back to normal? Because they fear what Trump keeps talking about, that the economy is going to bounce back. It's going to bounce back quickly. And they fear that. They don't want that to happen because they want the economy to tank because we're coming up on an election and they don't want Trump to win. And they figure, well, we've got the economy, it's working against them. Yeah, this is in the Daily Mail. They've got all these photographs of Floridians sitting in restaurants, and the headline says, Floridians flock to newly opened restaurants to eat on patios in the sun as the state of Florida loosens coronavirus restrictions. but most have already ditched their masks, and there's photograph after photograph of these people in the restaurant eating and drinking without their masks on. Is there another way to eat and drink? Is there a way to eat and drink with your mask on? Of course they've got their masks off. And they seem pretty happy to be out and about. I'm looking at these pictures. This is not here in South Florida yet, although Palm Beach County is about to open up. I can't wait. I hope Palm Beach County opens up by the weekend. Man, oh man, and Broward I think will follow soon after. All right, let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back after this.
96.9 FM, 103.9
Okay, that's
FM,
one train that's at
1470 WWNN
6:33.
Palm Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
When you need drug or STD testing,
Steve
you want
Kane
to
Show.
keep it private. After all, that's no one's business
Hey,
but
hold on.
yours. And
Okay.
any lab test now will
Hold on, you'll be up after the break.
They guarantee the lowest price on all of their thousands of tests. And all their testing is completely confidential. Drug and STD testing start at just $49. Drug testing results are available on the spot. No appointment necessary, no doctor's order or prescription. And
Hey, guys.
in and out in 15 minutes or less. Any lab test now of Boca Raton is located at
I wear masks. I've got one
2316
here.
Sandalwood Plaza on the east
I
side
wear
of
it.
441,
I don't
just
mind.
a few doors down from Western Beef. If you have any questions, call 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any lab tests now of Boca Raton. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel, and one of the most important things
That train is that's a freight train.
is integrity.
There's two of them.
You have
No,
to
there's
know
one.
you're
Just
dealing
one.
with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had
Welcome.
not
Make sure you guys
revised
subscribe.
this trust since 1997.
I was on the Trump train in 2012. I was before all you. Remember he was teasing running for president back then? Yeah, my mother-in-law made that mask for
I'm
me.
just asking for information for my sister. Now, you know, most people just blow you off, right? You know, almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked
The
my
Trump train,
questions
that's
and
right,
so
sir.
on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and talked about a lot of things, you know, and this and that. But I wanted to say, you know, character, integrity, these are the most important things with sponsors. And
I've never
all
done
your
pay-per-view,
sponsors,
boxing,
all of them, they all
anything.
have that you can trust them, and you know you get.
Although my wife, we were talking about, she wants to get the football ticket so we can watch Tom Brady play in Tampa because we don't get those games here.
3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA 3782. Tell them Steve sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
No, it's Jim from New York.
Hey, Jim. What's up?
Talking about the Dusty Rhodes thing.
Oh, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, greatest wrestler of all time.
Who's kids wrestling now?
Yeah, is that really his? I've heard that. Does he look like Dusty? Does he have like the blonde hair perm thing going on?
He has the blonde hair, but not the perm thing. He's in much better shape than Dusty was. Actually, both of them. He got two kids wrestling, but
Everyone's in better shape than Dusty Rhodes except Harvey Weinstein.
right, exactly. But no, what happened was I think he was attacking somebody. I think the Four Horsemen or somebody with a bat, and he accidentally hit Crockett, who was the owner of the wrestling promotion. That's when he got suspended. Then all of a sudden he showed up as, you know, the Midnight Rider.
The Midnight Rider. Yeah, see, I wasn't the only one that remembered the Midnight Rider. That was the best thing that ever happened in the history of professional wrestling.
But remember, we weren't supposed to know. Who is that guy behind the mask, right? Yeah.
Well, I was a little kid at the time. I don't remember what year that was, but it was the early 80s. It was somewhere between 81 and 83, somewhere in that area. So I don't know what I thought at the time. I think my dad told me it was Dusty Rhodes in a mask. I mean, that Midnight Rider was the best wrestler in the history of professional wrestling. Within 30 days, he won the belt.
Yeah, they couldn't tell,
But he retired, and we never heard from him again.
Yeah, but and as a footnote, I remember I live up in New York, but I did live in Florida at the time. I remember going to a wrestling event, and Steve Kane was the ring announcer.
Was the ring announcer? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a special guest ring announcer.
Yeah, he did a lot of those things. I really miss it. I don't like what they do with wrestling today. It's not as much fun. I mean, I remember that Georgia Professional Wrestling with Gordon Soley. It was more fun then. And I went to a match and saw Ric Flair, and I was in the first row, and it was like so exciting. And I can remember after the match, I was a little kid. You could actually go back by the locker room and meet them and talk to them and everything, and they were really cool. I mean, I loved it. Wrestling isn't the same.
No, not at all. They got this new promotion out that is better. It's almost like old time wrestling, but no, you're not going to beat what you found.
Well, you know, the I still call it the WWF, this WWE. They did something that really pissed me off a few years ago. They had a wrestler this was like during the Tea Party thing. They had a wrestler named Zeb Coulter. I think it was Zeb, his last name was Coulter. Zeb, I think, was his first name, and he was a conservative Tea Party guy, Coulter from Ann Coulter. And he was a Tea Party guy. That was his character. And he had a trainer, and of course the left had a meltdown of the insensitivity of this. And what they did really pissed me off. They actually, the wrestler and his manager actually broke character, went public. They came out as the characters, and then they broke character to explain that it was not real, that it was fake, and that it was just a character. And that really pissed me off. I've never seen that in the history of wrestling, and no one should ever see that. And I couldn't believe it.
But ironically, they had, which was Dusty Rhodes' older son, they had him as a cross-dressing weirdo, and that was quite all right, for a while.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I know. The Midnight Rider. So I'm not the only one that remembers the Midnight Rider. I thought I might be the only one. All right, take care, man. Jim from New York. Good morning. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Okay, so here's what you always do. We open up a new...
Wait, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. I didn't recognize the voice. Okay.
Open up a new restaurant. When you go in, you check your mask at the door. Sit down, you order a meal. When your meal's ready, we just hook up a feeding tube to the special mask they gave you. That solves the problem.
Okay. I mean, have you been to bed yet?
Yeah.
Okay, because you haven't woken up then.
Everything you were saying is...
Well, no, there's this story in the Daily Mail is getting circulated all over the media, the outrage that Floridians are sitting in a restaurant eating and drinking without their masks on. And I'm trying to figure out, why is that a controversy? I mean, have they thought of, they got to take the mask off to eat and drink? And are you supposed to put it on? Are you supposed to pull the mask on, take a bite, put it on while you chew, and then bring... Come on, give me a break.
Points were well taken. I mean, excellent. I enjoy your show, Brian.
Well, I'm glad. I enjoy the show too.
Thanks.
All right. Take care. Oh my gosh, out of material. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of. You got to wear masks to go places, but I feel so sorry for the workers that have to wear them all day, because when I wear them, like when I went into the bank yesterday, I was inside the bank for about 15 minutes and I had my mask on. And it was getting hard to breathe, it was hot, and, I couldn't wait to take it off. And the people that have to wear them all the time, it's not fun. It's not fun. And, there's another bit of fake news. I didn't get the story queued up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not as, we're a week and a day into the new place, and my morning routine has been thrown off because for so many years I'm going to the same place every day, doing the same thing. You get a routine, and a week ago, my whole routine changed, and I just haven't quite gotten over it yet. But there was a big fake news story yesterday, and I'll play you the audio that shows that it's fake news. Nurse tells Donald Trump she's been using the same N95 mask for a few weeks, and supplies are sporadic. So he lashes back, sporadic for you. as he boasts PPE crisis is over at event to honor National Nurses Day. Now, this, I know. So I saw this story without having seen the exchange, which I'm going to play for you right now. And the way that this exchange with the nurse, it was in the Oval Office, was as if there was an argument. And I thought, oh, what? She must be a plant. She must be some liberal plant who's gone in there to cause some trouble. There was no confrontation between the nurse and the president. I'm going to play the audio right now. Not only was there no confrontation, she agreed with the president. So there wasn't a blow up in the Oval Office between the president and a nurse. Listen, let me play it for you. This is the exchange.
So PPE has been sporadic, but it's been manageable, and we do what we have to do as nurses, and we learn to adapt and do whatever the best thing that we can do for our patients to get the job done and get the care provided, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Sporadic for you, but not sporadic for a lot of other people.
Oh no, I agree, Mr. President.
Because I've heard the opposite. I've heard that.
And she agrees. Absolutely, you see that? She agrees. This is the confrontation they were reporting.
Get the job done and get the care provided, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Sporadic for you, but not sporadic for a lot of other people.
Oh no, I agree, Mr. President.
I agree, Mr. President. That she's agreeing, but this is the confrontation.
Because I've heard the opposite. I've heard that they are loaded up with gowns now.
Yeah. So come on, fake news, busted yet again. You know, that's why I know people get tired of the press conferences. A lot of people are. Even Trump fans are like, oh gosh, another one every day. I know. You know, it's like I'm a huge Star Wars and Star Trek fan, and on streaming, I have every Star Wars thing ever made. I have every Star Trek episode ever filmed, and I hardly watch either of them now that I got all of them. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people feel the same way with every day. But you've got to watch them live, if you can, because the media are always going to misrepresent what the president said and what happened in the meetings. There was no confrontation between either of them. She agreed with him. Now, I will say, I know National Nurses Day, and that's fine and all. I have been tired for quite some time of this constant praise for the healthcare workers. Now, healthcare workers, there's all kinds of healthcare workers. The healthcare workers that are working in hospitals and in facilities where coronavirus patients are coming in certainly deserve to be honored, respected, maybe even get medals from the president. I'm serious. There should be maybe a national medal awarded to doctors, nurses, and other workers, orderlies, and everyone who are working in these places and hospitals where there are coronavirus patients coming in. But to treat all of healthcare workers, and by the way, not all healthcare workers are doctors and nurses. There's a lot of support staff there. To treat them all equally is absurd. I mean, should we be treating people that are working in coronavirus emergency rooms throughout America the same as the nurses that are making TikTok videos all day? Did you see the TikTok video that these nurses made where they were carrying a body through the ward? It was not a real dead person, okay? They were carrying a dummy, and they wrote COVID-19 on it while they made a dance video on TikTok. So should those nurses be honored the same as the nurses that are working in an ER in New York City or out in California that's loaded with coronavirus patients? I don't think so. And, you know, I get a little annoyed. And, well, let me take a break, and then I'll tell you what annoys me. Because if I start telling you, I'll miss the break, because I'll get so annoyed as I'm talking about it, I'll lose track of time. Let's take our last break of the first hour. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Let's take our break. We'll be right back.
Dr. Vitez, when we talk about charisma, hormone replacement pellet therapy brings back a lot of things in in people. And one of the
Hey,
things I
guys.
think it brings back is charisma, because I've met many listeners that are patients of Dr. Matez that I've met before they were patients of Dr. Matez, and I notice a big difference. And one thing I notice is a lot of confidence in guys after they start hormone replacement pellet therapy.
I agree with you 100%, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Get your mojo back. It's really
Yeah.
what
It
it is.
changes your life. It changes
Yes,
the
it
way
does.
you view the world. You know how I put it once? This was years and years ago. Looking at the world after having the hormone therapy, and you look at the world, and the world is like a technicolor. And when you give up the hormone therapy, it's like watching the world in
Yeah, I
black
know.
and white. It's just an amazing difference. Life
That's a
is fuller,
fantastic analogy.
isn't it?
It is.
And it's true. That's how it's a big.
There's a lot of
difference.
stolen valor going on
You know, we
with
both
healthcare workers.
physically and mentally break down, and we tend to get into a very black and white type of existence. A lot of people, everybody's different, but when you get your hormone levels back and you get that vigor back, you
No, it's
feel
the
good.
best.
Suddenly things are very bright and colorful.
And I experience this myself, and I see it on.
I wanna talk about the
listeners, I'll see
stolen
a guy,
valor when we get
and
back.
he's like, and then I'll see him after he has become a patient of yours, and with hormone replacement pellet therapy, he seems like he's standing up, standing up strong, confident, 10 feet tall. What is it about hormone replacement pellet therapy that does that to guys?
I believe it's because you're putting God's.
Oh, here's Kathy. My wife's in the
body,
chat.
Basically,
That's-
you know, God gave us
Exactly.
testosterone in particular to give us energy and strength and endurance and muscle mass. It's what makes not just men men. It's what makes people people. And a lack of it takes all of those things away from you.
So we'll meet with Steve Kane listeners at no charge.
Always.
What is the number they can call to make that appointment?
561-953-5490. 561-953-5490.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWN.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. So anyway, National Nurses Appreciation Day going on. There are many people that work in hospitals, emergency rooms, that are not nurses or a doctor, right? There's a lot of support staff there of all different levels. And I don't know why the nurses are getting singled out and getting all the appreciation, but there's also a lot of stolen valor going on among some healthcare workers. There are many healthcare workers, no doubt, are working under some very dangerous situations in these hospitals where they're constantly exposed. And healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, and support staff who, technicians, orderlies, all these people that go into what makes a hospital operate and what makes an emergency go. These are people that are there are people putting their lives at risk. They're separating themselves from their families, and they're truly dealing in very serious situations because they have so many coronavirus people coming in. But most of the healthcare workers are not in that situation. I mean, I drove by the ER in my neighborhood. It was empty just to see what was going on. They had a nurse all decked out, all covered up and everything. She looked like she was an Outbreak, the movie. But there were nothing going on there. She's not the same as someone who's working in an emergency room or a hospital that has a lot of coronavirus patients coming in. Big difference there. And, I've talked a lot about this stolen valor that goes on with the Vietnam veterans. There's a thing that I first started hearing a couple years ago, and I've talked to Richie the bus driver, who's a Vietnam veteran, about this, and other veterans. There are Vietnam veterans, and then there's this new classification called Vietnam era veteran. Vietnam era veteran. And, all veterans should be respected, and don't misunderstand. But there's a difference between a Vietnam veteran and this new thing that's popped up about a Vietnam era veteran. See, the lucky guys were the guys that didn't have to go to Vietnam. There were people who were drafted during the Vietnam War, enlisted, and they did their entire service without ever going to Vietnam. Were they not the lucky ones? We had troops here at home, troops in Europe, all over the place, all over the world. And I would think they considered themselves lucky at the time. And I'll see guys with hats on that say Vietnam era veteran. And the first time I saw this, discussed, I was at when I was in college, there was a guest professor from Germany who was lecturing about post-traumatic stress disorder, and there were a lot of veterans there, and some Vietnam. You always know the Vietnam veterans because a lot of them wear, like things they bought at the Army surplus store and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And this one guy asked a question. He asked about post-traumatic stress disorder among dry-foot veterans of Vietnam. And the professor didn't know what he was talking about. And he asked him to explain. And he says, well, those of us who served during the Vietnam War but didn't go to Vietnam are dry-foot veterans. And there's unaddressed post-traumatic stress disorder among these veterans that never went to the war. And the professor was just, he's like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, what I came to learn through talking to Richie, and he when he calls, which he always does, he can give us more detail. But one of the reasons that started is there's some veterans benefit that's paid to all veterans who served during the Vietnam War, regardless of where they were. If they were in Vietnam or they were stationed in Georgia, there's some benefit that they get from being in the service at that particular time. And that's when this Vietnam era veteran business first kind of started. And to me, Vietnam era veteran is a form of stolen valor, in my opinion. And I see some of that going on with healthcare workers these days. There are healthcare workers that are on the front line in emergency rooms around this country and working in hospitals and other facilities around America that are seeing patients who have full-blown COVID-19, and they are in danger. Many of them have separated from their families so they don't expose their families. Okay, those are the front-line healthcare workers, and there's a lot of them, and they are heroic because they don't have to do it. Even some working at testing facilities and things like that outside, So there's a lot of, they don't have to do any of that stuff, and they're doing it. And those certainly are heroes and heroines, without question. And then you have the majority of these workers that aren't dealing with anyone, and they're making TikTok dance videos all day. Did you see the one group of nurses that did the Titanic remake and all? You've seen them all over. And they're being honored with the ones that are on the front line. There's stolen valor going on among many healthcare workers in this country. Okay? And it should be discussed, and it should be called out. People that are in hospitals, emergency rooms, testing centers, whatever facility that are dealing with coronavirus patients, those are the heroes. Not the people that are in empty hospitals, empty emergency rooms, no coronavirus, no COVID patients, and they're making TikTok videos because they're bored. I mean, there's a big difference. Am I correct about that? Am I wrong? Am I insensitive? Is this... I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Another at 1-888-GO-CANE 1-888-465-2631. The stolen valor going on among many healthcare workers. Now, another thing, I was watching The Masked Singer last night. Any of you guys watch The Masked Singer? I love The Masked Singer, although I didn't know who the person was that was unmasked last night. Never heard of him, didn't recognize him, no clue, so it was a little disappointing to me. But anyway, I watched it live on television, and every commercial break, some aspect of coronavirus. Stay home, stay safe, a company with their employees wearing masks, healthcare workers with their hand on the sliding glass door with their child on the other side, kind of like a convict when they visit someone in prison, they get a visit from prison. Enough of this. I mean, I really get annoyed at these television commercials with people with masks on and the slow music, and it's time to move on and get things back to normal. And that really annoys me. There's another thing that instead of saying goodbye, this also annoys me. This is one thing I really don't like. And I know a lot of people say this, and some of you may, and you don't mean anything by it. It's becoming habit. You don't even realize you're saying it. Instead of saying goodbye, what do people say now all over the place? Instead of goodbye, see you later, goodbye. People don't say that anymore. What do they say? Stay safe. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. When people say stay safe, I hate it. I don't tell anyone to stay safe. It doesn't mean I don't want people to stay safe, but I don't like it because I want to get out of all this. I want to move on. I want to get things back to normal, and I want to be able to sit down in a restaurant and have a meal. I want to be able to get a haircut. I want to be able to walk on the beach without a police officer stopping me like they would do now if I went over there, and stay safe. Commercials with healthcare workers with their hand against the glass because their baby's on the other side. Enough. It's time to move on. And I know a lot of you are saying stay safe, and you don't mean anything by it because it's almost like a habit. You're hearing, you pick it up, and most people I don't think realize they're saying it, but I don't like that. Stay safe. I do not like it. Now, am I alone? Am I crazy? Am I alone in this thinking? Yeah. Give me a call. Either way, 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call from anywhere, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. While all these types of things are going on, you can't get back to normal. You cannot get back to normal while all of this is going on, and people say stay safe all the time, and all these things, and how many of you really truly want to stay in the current situation we're in? There's a lot of criticism going on of Trump. Well, there's always criticism. They're always going to criticize him. If he came out today with a cure for everything that ails people in the world, AIDS, cancer, corona, they'd criticize him for it. But talking about disbanding the coronavirus task force. And now it's kind of open-ended what he's going to do with it. We don't know now. The thing with the coronavirus task force, it keeps us on a war footing that we don't need to be on. At some point, you've got to get back to normal. Part of that is not... The reason they brought in the daily press briefing with the White House press secretary is because they're trying to tone down the severity, so far, the perception of the severity of the situation we're in with people. And if you have Birx and Fauci and the head of the CDC and people like that every day having a press conference with the president or vice president every day, it's like the days after 9/11 where we're in a crisis, we're in war footing, people are panicked. They're trying to tone things down. And the media, well, they don't want to tone things down. All right, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, 1 hour down, 2 to go. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. That's right. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Any lab tests now of Boca offer more than just lab work. They also have B12 injections available. B12 injections promote weight loss, increase energy, reduce stress, promote healthy skin, improve sleep, increase metabolism, fight heart disease, improve memory, and improve mood. B12 injections and any lab test now of Boca Raton, like their lab test, are priced low. 5 injections for just $69. Other places in town charge $349 for 3 injections, so that is a huge savings. Any lab test now of Boca Raton is located at 23016 Sandalfoot Plaza on the east side of 441, just a few doors down from Western Beef. If you have any questions, call 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Any lab tests now of Boca Raton. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on The Steve Kane Show.
Folks, I'm here with my attorney, Barry Siegel, the very fine attorney who executed my revocable living trust. Now, I had a revocable living trust when I went to see Barry, and I discovered that just having it's not enough. You have to keep it updated. Give me the reasons for that, Barry.
Well, Steve, things change as time goes by, and that's why it's important, just like you go to the doctor and get checkups every so often, it's important to get your revocable living trust and other estate planning documents checked up upon.
Make sure you guys subscribe if you're not subscribed.
I would suggest every 3 years. And some of the reasons why you would need to update your estate plan is, first of all, some of the provisions that you may have made, your beneficiaries, your trustees, you may need to change them for one reason or another. Maybe your trustee's no longer with us, maybe they're not the best choice anymore. Maybe you had more children and you need to put them in as beneficiaries as well.
In my case, my executor had died, so I had no one representing me. Today I have Brian. I made him the executive.
And that's exactly the point. You need to review and dust off that old estate plan and take a look and see what you have to make sure it's up to date. You also want to make sure that it's up to date because laws change from time to time, and also things in your financial life may have changed, hopefully for the better. And if that's the case, you need to make sure that your planning is up to date so that.
I like having the window too.
We want your estate
And I like standing up. Yesterday I was sitting down. I like standing up.
That's why it's so important to make sure that your estate
Well, thank you.
specifically your
Thank you,
revocable
Laura.
living trust is up to date.
The bottom line is call Barry
There we go.
Siegel at the Siegel Law Group, make an appointment, go in, make sure that your revocable living trust is updated. The number, toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. Be sure to mention to Barry that Steve Kane sent you.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. It's 4 minutes after 7 o'clock in the morning. It's Thursday, May 7th, 2020. Welcome back. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Yeah, so anyway, at the end of the last hour, I was talking about how the media and the Democrats don't want things to get back to normal. And you know, there's 2 reasons why they don't want things to get back to normal. One, they want to screw Trump with the economy. They know the economy is going to bounce back. You see in communities where things have opened, boom, packed with business. There's even malls that are opening up in Florida under phase 1. So, you know, Palm Beach County is about to move into phase 1. We're just waiting for the governor to sign the order. The Palm Beach County Commission voted 5-1, so we got one jerk that didn't want to open up the county. And we're going to get that soon. I'm hoping that includes the malls. I miss going to the mall. I don't do much shopping at the mall, but I like going to the mall to walk around. But anyway, I mean, this is great news. This is great news. And the media, they see, and the Democrats, they see people flocking to places. They don't like that. They don't like that. They want, not until after the election, because they want to try to tank the economy to hurt the president. The other thing is Democrats love power over people. They really enjoy power over people. Once they have control over people, they don't want to give it up. That's another reason. MSNBC had the most bizarre discussion yesterday. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll get to the phones in a minute. I'll answer them in a second. MSNBC, they had one of their liberal jerks on, and they were talking about Americans' obsession with freedom. I know, I can't make it up. Obsession with freedom. Oh, boy, listen to this. This is MSNBC yesterday.
The fundamental questions to me is what's going to be our relationship to government, the idea of government after this. And we kind of look at it at 3 levels this week. There is a primordial American tradition going back to the founders of being freedom obsessed, even though...
Freedom obsessed. Does it sound like that's a negative in his mind, in the tone, that it goes all the way back? Freedom obsessed. You're obsessed with freedom.
American tradition going back to the founders of being freedom obsessed, even though we're a country founded on slavery and genocide, being freedom obsessed to the point that we are always so...
Wow, that's MSNBC. I wish this was July, the Independence Day, when they were talking about this. The country was founded on slavery and genocide? I thought this country was founded on freedom, religious freedom. But no, founded on genocide and slavery. This is MSNBC yesterday.
primordial American tradition going back to the founders of being freedom obsessed, even though we're a country founded on slavery and genocide, being freedom obsessed to the point that we are always so afraid of the government coming for us that we are blind to other types of threats, whether it's a virus, whether it's bank malfeasance, or climate change, what have you. There's also a more recent kind of 40-year version of this, which is the Reagan war on government, right? Government is the problem. That's not just an idea on the right. There's a hard version on the right. There's a small c conservative militant version of it. But there's also, it has infected many people on the left in this passive sense that, yeah.
See, people on the left, this is MSNBC yesterday, they're concerned people on the left are now being infected with this obsession with freedom.
Yeah, I believe in government, but I would never go work there. Or I believe in government, but, I kind of don't like my taxes too high. Or, trusts in the Cayman Islands. And then there's the more recent Trump era twist in this, which is the war on government becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You undermine government, you undermine it, you undermine it. You put someone who can barely read a sentence in government, in the figure of Donald Trump.
Wow. So we're obsessed with freedom. This freedom obsession is beginning to infect liberals. This is MSNBC. They're very concerned. And we have a president who cannot even read a sentence. We have an illiterate president.
You undermine it, you undermine it. You put someone who can barely read a sentence in government, in the figure of Donald Trump, and it becomes true that government sucks because you've made it suck by telling everybody it sucks. And I think the most important thing that could come out of this is realizing that government is not the biggest threat to our liberty. It can be a threat to our liberty, but we're threatened by many, many things. And what government fundamentally does is protect us from a lot of those other oppressions that we in America are often quite blind to.
Wow. The government's protecting us from oppressions we are blind to. So stay in your home and don't leave until MSNBC tells you to, so they can protect you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's MSNBC. And notice not one person comes in to challenge it, to question it. He's just going on. Now you tell me that the liberals don't hate this country. Founded on genocide and slavery? Those terrible things they're talking about, this country ended that. We didn't start slavery here. We didn't start, when they talk about genocide, they're talking about the first settlers brought European diseases to the Native American Indians and they died from it. We didn't do that. The Europeans did. We ended these terrible things in this country. We didn't start slavery here. We ended it. And so far as genocide, the Native American Indians introduced Europeans to two things. One, syphilis, which pretty deadly back in those days. But what was unique to America, to the Americas, that they did not have in Europe, that the Native American Indians gave to the world. You know what it is? It's a crop, and it's not corn, maize. You know what it is? Tobacco. How many people have died because of the tobacco that the Native American Indians introduced to the Europeans? Still dying, hundreds and hundreds of years later. Now, you talk about all your genocide and everything with those European diseases they brought over here before the era of antibiotics and things. And we can joke around about the Indians introducing syphilis to the settlers and the sailors and all that. But tobacco has killed dump the dumpster on the ground back there? But how many have died from the Indian tobacco, the Native American tobacco throughout the world and are still dying? There are people that will probably die in the world during this broadcast from tobacco-related conditions. So I don't know what this guy, where did he go to school? I bet that guy went to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, or he may even be one of those Rhodes Scholars from Oxford. I don't know. He didn't go to, that guy on MSNBC, whoever he is, he did not go to Hillsdale University, I promise you that. All right, Richie, good morning. You're on the radio.
Yeah, good morning. I don't have corona, but I have the virus. I have the virus of freedom. And let me tell you something. This guy that just opened up his mouth.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, outrageous.
Isn't that crazy? You're obsessed. You're one of those freedom obsessed people.
Yeah, I
have the virus.
Are you concerned? Are you concerned that this obsession with freedom is? We're now seeing indicators, according to MSNBC, that it's spreading to liberals.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
because this is a college professor or something. I mean, this is what they're teaching these young people in school. You want to know what we're witnessing right now? We're witnessing government overstep. We're witnessing people that had businesses that can't even open them anymore. They're getting thrown in jail. I mean, you know what? I'm going to give you an analogy. It's like going on a cruise ship. When you get up in the morning, the first thing on a cruise, you look at the paper and you say, now what am I going to do? And what am I going to wear? And the rest of the day, you have freedom.
Yeah.
Okay? You do what you want. If you want to get in a car and you want to go to North Carolina, you go. You don't have government watching over you, okay? Although now they do with cameras on every light pole and cell phone clips sitting those all over the place so they can track you. But the fact is, the freedom is freedom, and this is what this country was founded on.
No, it was founded. You didn't hear MSNBC. This country was founded on genocide and slavery. Yeah.
Because that's what they're taught. They hate this country, man. I've been saying it for a long time. This is so it's out there right now. You can see it out there. These people are disgusting, man. I mean, this guy got me really upset when you just played this clip. This exposes them, man. It's like being in basic training right now, where you're told by the drill sergeant when to get up, when to go.
Yeah.
I don't want an America like that.
Now, do you think I'm crazy about this stolen valor going on among many healthcare workers that are not on the front line?
Well, I can tell you somebody who really appreciates the front line of the nurses, and that's the governor of New York, who's going to tax these people that have come from out of state to help the people in New York. He's going to hit them with the biggest federal statewide income tax.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to bring that up a little later. If you don't know, healthcare workers from around America have done what first responders did after 9/11. They've gone to New York to help, risking their lives, and Cuomo is going to tax. What's the tax rate? You know, healthcare workers, nurses, and doctors make a pretty good living. So they might, I don't know what the tax rates are in New York, but think about this. Governor Cuomo is going to hit them with state, and they're going to get hit by the city tax too, the income tax, for volunteering and risking their lives in New York State and New York City. What a jerk Cuomo is. This is their this is their president. They call him President Cuomo.
Well, that's what Democrats want to do. They want to tax you to death. They want to turn Florida into California. They want to turn Florida into New York. I mean, there must be a reason why New York had all of these problems and other states didn't have it. You have big cities everywhere else, they still don't have the numbers.
The places with the biggest problems are run by Democrats. Even at the local level in Florida, the hardest hit area in Florida is Democrat Miami-Dade County. But, you know, Andrew Cuomo, healthcare workers that are working in these serious situations in New York, he should exclude them from income tax, city and state, as opposed to saying, yeah, we're going to tax you these high tax rates for leaving your home, leaving your job, leaving your family, coming here to the front line. Could you imagine if every soldier that went to Vietnam all of a sudden got hit with like a 30-40% tax? Or however high the tax is over there. Well, you're in Vietnam. You got to pay. Did you have to pay income taxes in Vietnam when you were over on the front lines there on the DMZ, Richie? Could you imagine if the government of South Vietnam said all of the American service people are going to have to pay income tax in Vietnam, and if you're in Saigon, there's a city income tax in Saigon. You got to pay. Well, that's what Cuomo said yesterday.
Like me saying to you, okay, Brian, you come over to my house with your wife and your daughter. We're going to have a great dinner. What do you like to drink? What's your favorite drink of choice? And I buy it for you. It could be top shelf. It doesn't matter. And as you're walking out of my house, I say, oh, Brian, here's the bill for what.
Yeah, for what you ate in my home. It's like, yeah, that's what Cuomo's doing. And, you know, a lot of first responders went to New York after 9/11 and worked there for months. And, yeah. I mean, did they tax the first responders who on 9/11 there were first responders who got in their cars and drove to New York City to help? Did they tax them an extra? I mean, what a jerk Governor Cuomo is.
Hurricane. It's like a hurricane. hurricane here, people come from other states to help us out. You think we're going to charge them taxes on that?
Well, we don't have state income tax, unlike Cuomo.
I mean, can you imagine what they do? It's just outrageous. That's a Democrat, and by the way, to this guy that was on MSNBC, we have a president that's a great president because his vocabulary isn't of yours, but his mind is there, and he's a...
Yeah. You know, the most shocking thing that came out of New York this week, New York City in particular, from the governor, for the first time in 115 years, they cleaned the subways. And I want to think about this. The last time the subways of New York were cleaned, Teddy Roosevelt was president. Think about that. What the hell? I wonder why it's so bad there.
Have you ever been on a subway?
Oh, God, yeah. Scary. It's like riding a roller coaster.
Yeah, not only that. I remember the last time I was there was the late 60s, so I guess I'm blanketed in with that. It smelled from urine at that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like Hollywood, California. Yeah, people in New York don't smell the urine. They're just used to it. They think every place smells like that.
Rat infested, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the freedom virus. That's right. All right, Richie the bus driver. Let's take our break. I'm Brian. You are listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Let's take our break. We'll be back.
You've heard Steve Kane, Richie the bus driver, and many other Steve Kane listeners tell you about the great work Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental Care offers. Steve Kane listener, hey, called in, he had an accident, he went to Dr. Gupta, and he told us his story.
Good morning, Brian. My name's Hank. I'm calling from Hollywood. Brian, I'm calling you for a different thing. About a month or so ago, I called first thing in the morning because I fainted coming out of my bathroom. And I busted my 3 front teeth. I busted my chin, but I guess I fainted, I fell, I cracked my chin, it hit my upper teeth, and cracked my 3 front teeth. I want to thank you, and I really want to thank Dr. Gupta. I mean, besides the fact that my teeth look great, besides the fact that, you know, his assistant is really good, really nice, they're all really nice over there, the price was unbelievable. When I came home and I told my wife, she's like, I thought that thing was going to cost you 3 times as much. I said, so did I. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank Dr. Gupta. He's awesome. Appreciate your show. I listen to your show a lot. I only called in this the second time. Both times, one was to make sure I'm going to the right office where Dr. Gupta was, and then this one to let you know that he's great. I know you know he's great. I just want your listeners to know he's great. His assistant is great. The prices are great. Everything is great over there.
Awesome. Well, listen, I'm glad you had a great experience with Dr.
Yeah,
Gupta.
I did. Thank you again, Brian.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, and thank Steve, and you guys keep up the good work over there. I appreciate it. Dr. Gupta, you keep up the good work, too.
All right, there we go.
So everybody keep up.
All right, I think you guys just heard what will be the new commercial for Dr. Gupta.
Do what Hank did. Call Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. For Steve Kane listeners, free consultations. And always the best price. Give Dr. Gupta a call right now. 954-922-4633. 954-922-4633.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority. In this time of social distancing and sheltering in place, many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954-597-7060. Don't let social distancing stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for Dope.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to The Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Welcome back, one and all. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. If you have any comment on anything we brought up today, or somewhat open phone-ish, if you think it's relevant to the conversation, you're certainly welcome to bring that up at 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's Kane with a K, K-A-N-E, and the number 1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. There is, well, how many of you know who Shelley Luther is? Shelley Luther. You know, Shelley Luther is the Rosa Parks of this era. Shelley Luther is the Rosa Parks of the coronavirus period that we are in. She's the Texas salon owner who opened up against orders. She got sentenced to 7 days. And I know a lot of you will say, well, she shouldn't have been open. The government said she shouldn't have been open. And, how dare she go to open up her business to feed her family when the government said you can't open your salon? Well, you know what? The government said that you can't sit at the front of the bus. You got to sit at the back of the bus. And if the back of the bus gets full and a white person comes on, as a black person, you have to stand up and offer your seat to a white person. And then Rosa Parks came and sat at the front of the bus. Bus driver. A lot of people think Richie the bus driver was the Rosa Parks bus driver. That is not true. That's a rumor. But Rosa Parks went against what the government order was. The government ordinances said that black people had to sit at the back of the bus and they would have to give up their seat to white people if the bus was full. And Rosa Parks said no, and they took her to jail too. And that was the beginning of the end of, well, blacks in this country not enjoying the freedoms that everyone had. And Shelley Luther is a Rosa Parks-like figure. She's in Texas. She has her hair salon. She's broke. She has a family to feed. We're not talking about luxuries here. We're talking about basic necessities. And she opened up. She got busted. Some liberal jerk judge gave her 7 days in jail. Here's the update on it. This is from a Dallas-Fort Worth CBS affiliate I'm reading from. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has called for the immediate release of a Dallas salon owner who was arrested and sent to jail for operating her business in defiance of Governor Greg Abbott's stay-at-home order. And I know Greg Abbott's a Republican, but hey, Shelley Luther, owner of Salon a la Mode, was sentenced to 7 days in jail Tuesday after Dallas Judge Eric Moy, who I'm sure is a Democrat, got to be a Democrat, said she violated those orders as the coronavirus pandemic continues. Paxton said he believes the judge is abusing his authority and that her arrest seems like a political stunt. And Paxton, he's the Attorney General for Texas, which is a position that Ted Cruz held when President Bush, G.W. Bush, was governor. But this is what the Texas Attorney General said. I find it outrageous and out of touch that during this national pandemic, a judge in a county that actually released hardened criminals for fear of contracting COVID-19 would jail a mother. You see, they let a lot of crooks out and bad guys out. Would jail a mother for operating her hair salon in an attempt to put food on her family's table, said Texas Attorney General Paxton. The trial judge did not need to lock up Shelley Luther. His order is shameful. It's an abuse of judicial discretion, which seems like another political stunt in Dallas. He should release Ms. Luther immediately, and Governor Greg Abbott should pardon her. He can do it. Pardon her, Greg Abbott. The Attorney General sent a letter to the judge saying her sentencing was significantly overbroad. He mentioned that Governor Abbott's new executive order would allow her to operate starting Friday. So let her out. And there's no question, she knew she was up against it. She knew, she may not have known she'd get 7 days in the slammer, but she knew she was going to get fined. There'd be penalties. She'd have to go to court. And like Rosa Parks, she said, screw it. I got to have food. I got to have money to buy food. I'm opening up. Screw it. I'm going to do it. Oh, man. I'll tell you, what is going on in this country? You're on the radio. Good morning.
Good morning, boy. This is Don in Boca.
Hey, Don in Boca. What's up?
Do you mind if I change pace?
Well, I don't know. It depends on what it is. I got a good thing going here. I'd rather you comment on that, but let me see what you got.
I remember listening quite some time ago when you mentioned you had a cat or more than one cat.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're a good guy, but with everything that I'm talking about today, should I really be having a conversation about catnip? I mean, does that seem to be a direction I should take? This is what happens when you don't screen the calls. I answer them. I screen live on the air, so this will happen on occasion.
Know what to do, so I thought I'd ask.
Okay, well, go ahead and ask. Okay, what about catnip?
How is it? What is it doing? How do you use it?
I don't use catnip. I don't have any in the house. I know nothing about catnip. Are you kidding me? I'm sure you're a nice guy. Why would you call me about catnip right now?
It just popped into my head to do.
Oh my goodness! Can I get Al the John on the line? All right, appreciate the call. Oh my gosh! Jeez. Live radio. This is what happens when you don't screen the calls. You can do this all day. Now I like screening the calls on the air because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to get. It's like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. But if that had been screened, if I'd answered that off the air and talked to him, he never would have made it on the air. But oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, but anyway, back to this woman. Now, another thing about her, what she did was great. She stood up. She will forever be a heroine in Texas. This woman with the hair salon, she could find herself in Congress. She really could. She was at a rally a few days ago, which I saw on TV, and she doesn't mess around. I mean, she's a real tough broad. I mean that in a good way. I don't mean in a negative way. She doesn't mess around. She's unafraid. She's the kind of woman that Hillary Clinton thinks she is. Tough, accomplished, self-starter. And if she were, this woman with the hair salon, Shelley Luther, she could run for governor. Greg Abbott's got to be in his second term. Isn't he in his second term? She could run for governor and win in Texas probably as the next Republican governor. But now here's a question I have about her, Shelley Luther. And I didn't think about this until this morning when there were some updated stories and they had a picture of her, which I don't know if it was a mugshot or not. Now, she's got the state attorney general on her side. She's got a lot of conservatives on her side. She is going to probably, I would not be surprised if we see Shelley Luther at Trump's next rally in Texas when the rally comes back. She's a mover and shaker now. And we may see her in the United States Senate one day, or the House of Representatives, or she may be even the, I'm serious about that. She's that popular. Now, here's my question, and I'm not taking anything away from what she did, and I do stand by that she's the Rosa Parks of this era in this country. She did something that Rosa Parks did. She did something that went against what the government order was, the government rules and regulations that she knew would land her in jail, but she could land her in jail. She did what she thought was right to make a point. She's trying to free the people of not just Texas, but this country, like Rosa Parks was trying to liberate the blacks of the South living in the Democrat-controlled segregated South. Okay? So I do stand by all that. But here's the question that popped in my mind when I saw this photograph of her in the news today, which may have been a mugshot. I'm not sure if it was a mugshot. It looked like it might have been a mugshot. She's very pretty. She's very pretty. Would Shelley Luther be famous, have the Attorney General of Texas on her side, and be this prominent person if she was not white, blonde, and pretty? Does that factor into it? It doesn't take away from anything that she's done, because what she's done is a good thing. And you know what? She's brought this country much closer to opening up, and certainly Texas and the Dallas-Fort Worth area where she's based. But if she were not white, blonde, and pretty, would all this be happening with her, or would she have to do her 7 days? And on top of that, is it possible she might have gotten more time? Was 7 days the max sentence? I don't know. If she were not white, blonde, and pretty, again, I like her. I like everything she's done. I support her. I stand by everything I said about her. But if she were not white, blonde, and pretty, would she be one of the most talked about women in America right now? Would she have a future in politics if she were not white, blonde, and pretty? I'm asking. I'd like to take your calls on all these things, and catnip too. But first, let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. Right, I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. We'll be right back after this.
106.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
We have on the line attorney Barry Siegel, our estate planning attorney.
Be right back,
He's going to tell you what you can do to take care of your family in this very difficult period. Barry, what have you seen happening with estate planning since the outbreak of the coronavirus?
Since the outbreak of the corona-19 virus, people have taken estate planning much more seriously. One of the things that we talk about often is how people procrastinate when it comes to setting up their estate planning, because estate planning, most of the time for people, is something they should do. But what the coronavirus has done with the outbreak and concern is made people put this at the top of their list. So instead of it being a should, it's become a must. And therefore, we have received a ton of calls from people who have been telling us that they've been meaning to do this for a long time, but now they've realized how important it is to make sure, even if they're doing everything right and they stay home and do their social distancing, they still just want to make sure that they have that peace of mind that they've set up their estate plan to take care of the people that they love. Many people prefer face-to-face meetings. I typically am one of those people. With what's going on, we are still able to help people either by doing telephone consultations or even video consultations. We can send a link over to you, and all you have to do is touch the button, and all of a sudden we're face to face. We can see each other, and we can have a consultation just as if you were sitting in our conference room. And
I heard your comment about the dump truck. Don't worry about it. Outside of a foot or a foot and a half.
You can't hear on the mic?
You can't hear on the mic.
Yeah. Questionnaire if you're married, that both you and your spouse attend.
Steve Kane Show.
And we're able to do the same things and ask the same questions and have the same conversations that we do when you're sitting right there in our conference room, either over the phone or by video conference. It's been working out very, very well.
People are very concerned in this time about their health care. What planning is important for people to have as it relates to their
Make sure you guys subscribe, all right?
Healthcare planning is so very important. There are 3 key healthcare documents that everybody should have in their estate plan. The first one is the healthcare surrogate designation. The
Steve Kane Show.
Surrogate designation is a document that allows you to
Hey, Carl, hold on.
use the surrogate or an agent to step into your shoes and make your healthcare decisions for you if you are unable to do so. We always recommend that you name at least 2, or you can name 2 people together. But the people
You're here, we see you. Just because somebody doesn't respond to what you write doesn't mean anything. It just means that no one's cared to respond.
The living will. The living will is the document that's typically called the full deployment document. If you are mentally incapacitated, they can't.
Oh, thanks, Cheryl. Appreciate that, Cheryl. Thank you so much.
An end-stage condition, or you're in a persistent vegetative state, the living will tell your healthcare surrogate whether.
Oh, well, thank you, Cheryl.
Kept alive on a machine if the machine is the only thing keeping you alive while you're in those conditions. So it's very important to have that so that your healthcare decision maker will be able to know what it is.
Do all you guys listen to my podcast that I do with my wife, Kathy? You should. The Brian Craig Show podcast, Kathy and I, new episode last night. Over 900 episodes. We're moving to the 1,000th episode soon.
You read their HIPAA policy, and their HIPAA policy basically says that they won't share your private medical information with anybody other than other doctors, other specialists, other medical providers. The HIPAA authorization and release.
I'm sitting down.
Your estate planning says, I want my medical information kept private, but you can share it with my spouse, my child, my brother, my sister, my friend, whoever it is that you would want them to be allowed to access your medical information, either by talking to the doctors and nurses and other medical staff.
I know, it's a nice view, isn't it? When they open up the beach, which will be soon, when they open up the beach, we're 5 minutes from the beach. So when the beach is open, one day when I get off the air, I'll do a live stream driving from the going from the radio studio to the beach, so you can see how close we are to the beach.
Interfering with their families, and they are just real heroes out there who are taking care of all of these ill people. So we wanted to make sure that they have the proper documentation that they needed for their own planning for themselves and their families, so that they would be protected. So we are offering
Yeah, our other studio was no windows. It was like,
deal with
you
animals
know.
and animal clinics and animal shelters. We are offering them a free healthcare surrogate designation and a free
There we
living
go.
will. So all they have to do is call our office and we'll take care of that for them. Again, for all of you who are doing those difficult work, handling that heavy load.
I know I need a haircut, but you can't get a haircut in Florida right now.
We will give you a free consultation.
Well, thanks, Jeffrey.
That consultation can be either over the phone or by video conference, but the consultation will be free. So please give us a call and we will set that up for you.
Call Barry Siegel's office right now and take advantage of that free consultation. His number is toll-free, 1-855-FLA-3782.
Well, thank you.
1-855-FLA-3782. Online, SiegelLawGroup.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
Carl in Columbus, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Hey.
Hey, there's a, back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there's a philosopher, Catholic philosopher named G.K. Chesterton.
Okay.
His quote was, when your personal health becomes a public concern, your most private acts become more public than your most public acts. And that's what we're seeing here with this shutdown of that salon and everything. It's only going to get worse the more involved
Oh, thank you.
becomes in our health care and our personal well-being. You know, they're trying to save us from ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think this is only going to get worse as time goes on.
Well, did you hear that clip I played a little while ago from MSNBC that talked about Americans' obsession with freedom? I mean, my goodness.
That was bad.
I'm going to play it again. I mean, that one's so good. I hear that, and no one even questioned him on it on MSNBC. It was like they were doing a public service announcement when he said it. Now, let me ask you about the Rosa Parks of Texas, this hairstylist. If she wasn't white, blonde, and pretty, would she just have to do her hard time of 7 days and no one would care about her? Is her being good looking helping her and why she's got so much support, you think?
I think she's, I don't know.
Come on. It's got to factor into it.
I think everyone's upset about her.
You know, because everyone, well, the Rosa Parks comparison, I stand by that. You know, Rosa Parks did what the law said, and the Freedom Riders, John Lewis and all the rest, they did what they were told they couldn't do. Sit in the bus station, sit at the lunch counter, sit on the front of the bus, and all the rules and regulations and laws were against them, and they did it because those laws and regulations were wrong, and it was slavery by another name. And this hairdresser with her salon out in Texas did a very similar thing.
Right. Because not all laws are moral.
Well, you don't have to be black to have your civil rights violated. See, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to be someone who comes into this country illegally to have your rights violated. You can be of any background and have your rights violated.
Right. And she is in that entrepreneurial class.
Oh yeah.
Which they hate and they despise.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, and she opened up her salon not just for herself and her customers, but for people that work in that salon. You know, they need money. Most people that work in hair salons are women, most of them, and they have kids, and a lot of them are single, and they're the sole provider for their family, and it's gone, and they don't make a lot of money. They really don't, and
I forgot where I heard it, but I've heard a lot of barbers and hair stylists are working underground, like in their basement, the garage.
Yeah.
Trying to stay afloat.
Yeah. No, that's true.
I wonder if the hair salons at Walmart are open.
That's a good question. When I've gone to Walmart, I haven't paid much attention to that. So next time I go inside Walmart, I'll take a look. My guess would be no. I think if you could go into a hair salon in Walmart, I think everybody would be over there. All the guys would be there getting haircuts and everything else. So I would say no, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Carl. All right, take care, man. All right. Good morning. You're on the radio.
Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug, how's it going?
All right, well, it's not going very well when we hear this kind of stuff going on in this country. I don't know how the hell anybody can put up with this anymore. You know, Thomas Jefferson said we need a revolution every 25 years to stop the tyranny of a government. And here we are, man. This is getting
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that you know, this hair salon owner in Texas is I mean, she's kind of like the face of this movement to reopen this country that the left do not want to have open and the media do not want to be reopened.
Well, certainly, I'm hoping our Congress will wake up and say, you know, the constitutional rights we have. If you're going to shut something down, a governor, first of all, I don't think any mayor should be allowed to shut anything down. But a governor should have a certain time limit. The president may be a little longer. But certainly there should be a definite time limit that you can only do before you have to let the Constitution go back into effect. Instead, they just take our rights away, tell you you can't open a business, and, you know, really bother me with what that woman said.
Scott, are you there?
The judge,
can you call back right before 8 o'clock? Because I got another call in now. Right before 8.
I'm not on
Would that be okay?
government pay.
All right, thanks.
So I have to make a living. And he didn't care. He just put him in jail.
Yeah. You know, and now if this Rosa Parks of the coronavirus era hairdresser was not white, blonde, and pretty, would she have all this support, you think? Would she be so prominent and have all this publicity? Like say she was a minority, say she was black, unattractive, would she have to do her 7 days? Would she have the Attorney General of Texas supporting her? What do you think?
I think she wouldn't get 7 days probably, but I certainly think, no matter who it was, if they did that to anybody, I'm behind them. I think.
Oh yeah, I support her. Absolutely, I'd vote for her in a heartbeat. And she's tough. I saw her at a rally online the other day, and she doesn't mess around.
Yeah, well, I didn't see the rally, but I'm hoping that maybe she'll get into politics. We need more people like that running our country.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. You sound like one of those Americans that are obsessed with freedom.
I'm hoping that there'll be more of us than MSNBC people.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. All right, Doug. Appreciate the call. Thanks so much. All right, you have a good day. All right, on the line, we have Dr. Mitch Matez. Dr. Mitch Matez, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good. So what's going on in the world of South Florida anti-aging medicine?
Oh, lots of stuff going on, Brian. Obviously, right now, the hot topic is the virus, which is not a good thing to get if you want to age well.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, Brian, listen, we are able to test for the virus now here at the BRC 4AM. Let me explain this to everybody real quickly here. This is an antibody test. We're doing this, by the way, as a service to our clients and other individuals that want to take advantage of this. There are lots of tests out there, folks. I believe at last count there are 70 available tests. They test all kinds of different things. We have swabs in your nose, little finger pricks, little strips, all kinds of things. The test that we are running is the definitive test to determine if you have antibodies in your body specific to the COVID-19 virus. This test will tell you if you have been exposed to or had the virus, and you have now built antibodies, which does, by the way, make you immune to the virus, folks. So you can get this test through us. You can get this test anywhere, all over the place. You can get tested. Can you get this specific test? You must get this specific test from a doctor or a accredited laboratory. It is a blood test. It is very specific. It is going to be very, very accurate.
So this antibody test that you're offering, when you get the results, by the way, how long does it take to get the results back?
A maximum of 48 hours.
Wow.
Coming back in 24.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so I come in, I get tested. I know that I have the antibodies. What does that mean? I know I have the antibodies.
that infers immunity. And I don't buy into any of this nonsense on TV. Well, if you have the antibodies, then we have to wait to see if you're immune. The way the body works, the antibody is your liver specifically, but your body forming a molecule that is specifically designed to kill the virus.
Wow.
Wow. If you have the antibodies, it means you have been exposed and you will not get it again. That would be pretty unusual. It would go against pretty much.
Yeah. That's amazing. So listen, give Dr. Mitch Matez a call. You do have to make an appointment for this. This is, because he doesn't want all these. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Free test. And folks, please don't call and start giving us a hard time.
Yeah.
I understand this test is tests are available everywhere. They're through insurance, they're through the government. There are other kinds of ways of getting them for free. We do not participate with insurance companies or the government for that matter. Our test is $125. It is for your convenience. If you want to come to a nice, quiet, safe environment, have a blood test that is definitive done, we can do it for you. We do understand that there are plenty of other tests out there. We're offering this as a service.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me tell you, it's something that people certainly should do. And I'll tell you, I'm going to talk to Steve about this because I think seniors should get this antibody test because it would take a lot of the worry off of people's minds. If they have the antibodies, it would take a lot. Listen, give Dr. Mitch Matez a call. Talk to his staff. Talk to Dr. Matez about this. His number 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. Online, hormonetherapybocaratone.com. By the way, for all the anti-aging things we talked about with Dr. Matez, he's also open for that as well. So, so if you need your pellets, if you want to talk about anti-aging health, you can call him as well. But for that antibody test, give him a call, 561-953-5490. All right, Dr. Matez, take care, and we'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Make sure you call in tomorrow. We want people over the weekend to hear about this incredible test that you're offering, all right? All right, Dr. Mitch Matez. We'll finish up our break and be right back. Don't you go anywhere, all right? I'm Brian Craig. This is The Steve Kane Show. 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's our number.
This is Brian Craig. I've been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service at Friendly Tire on both new tires and used tires. One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, yes, Brian. I want to give you a quick testimony about the tire place up in Margate, Friendly Tire. Friendly Tire is everything you said it would be, man. I went up there and got me some used tires, and when I whipped them, he was very courteous. My whole family's going for now, man. Everything you said it was going to be, man. I appreciate you for that, man. And Mike's a great guy, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire.
I have no idea.
Man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find incredible deals on both new and used tires. Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
If you suffer from excruciating back pain or sciatica, pay careful attention to what I'm about to tell you. According to a study in the medical journal Spine, back surgeries to alleviate back pain frequently backfire, leaving the patient in more pain than before they had the surgery. A second study from the University of Cincinnati College of Medicine provides clear evidence that 74% of surgeries for back pain fail. But there is an end to your suffering. There's a solution to your problem waiting for you with Dr. Troy Lemaski. Dr. Troy Lemaski is my personal chiropractor, and if the name sounds familiar, it should. He's the brother of Dr. Janae Lemaski. Dr. Troy specializes in the elimination of back pain, sciatica, joint pain. He does it quickly, easily, and without surgery or pain medication. While he can help you with your back and neck pain, Dr. Troy also provides treatment for the hips, the shoulders, the knees. If you've been in a car accident, any type of injury, or slip and fall, the pain won't go away, well, if you want to get back to your old self, you want to call Dr. Troy. His number 954-463-3036. That's 954-463-3036. Online at drtroylemaskey.com. Tell him that Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back. 8 minutes before 8. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. I don't know who. I've never heard of this guy before. He plays for the NFL. Earl Thomas. Again, that's why I didn't talk about Shula the other day. I don't know anything about football. That's okay. I don't know who these people are. Baltimore. This is in the Daily Mail. Baltimore Ravens star Earl Thomas was held at gunpoint by his wife after she found him naked in bed at an Airbnb with several women and his brother after a night out. Okay, terrible thing. But with all that being said, people that are football stars, movie stars, and TV stars should not be married. And women who are married to athletes in particular, mostly athletes like this, guys playing in the NFL, shouldn't they expect this kind of I mean, is this a shock? You know, when you have someone that's an athlete, a professional athlete, I think most, especially football, they're young, they're athletic, they're famous, they're rich, and they got a lot of hormones going. I mean, don't you think most of these wives assume this type of behavior happens? I don't know, but it seems a bit crazy. I mean, how many women? I know it's... If you're a woman and you marry an NFL player, marry an ex-NFL player, okay? Don't marry one currently in the NFL. Oh, man, all right. Oh, did you guys catch the latest Project Veritas? Oh, my goodness. Was it on? Did you see it on Fox, Steve? No. Of course not. Fox. After Roger Ailes left and Bill O'Reilly, that was it for Fox. Project Veritas yesterday had the release that is James O'Keefe's. Now, I'm just going by memory, but you know, James O'Keefe, he really deserves a Pulitzer. Did they give Pulitzers to TV people? He deserves something. He deserves major awards. He's the best journalist we have in this country, and I'll tell you, he's got one problem. His first story, James O'Keefe, was so big, so great, so groundbreaking, nothing could ever equal it, right? Remember the Acorn Pimp and Hoe thing? I mean, he came out of the box like an actor in their first role winning the Academy Award. There's a long history of actors winning an Oscar in their first starring role and then their careers tank. Tatum O'Neal, Richard Dreyfuss. They still make movies and stuff, but they never have anything that equals because they peak too soon. And he peaked with that Acorn video. But James O'Keefe's investigative report that he released yesterday morning is his biggest story since the Acorn. And CBS's morning show with Gayle King did a story in Michigan on coronavirus testing. And what James O'Keefe did, what he exposed was something that was amazing. It was a testing center in Michigan, and it was a Gayle King show, CBS morning show. And the reason they picked Michigan is because of that lunatic governor and all the protests and all the controversy there. The people, and they had a line of cars. James O'Keefe had behind the scenes, an insider whistleblower came to James O'Keefe with this. There's video, there's audio, and this whistleblower even recorded the people involved with this at this testing center on his cell phone, and all the video and audio and identity of all these people is known. This testing center, CBS, they did this huge story. They go to this testing center and they show this long line of people in their cars getting tested at this testing center. They were not real patients. The people that were in line getting tested worked for the hospital and worked for the testing center. It was totally staged. And CBS hasn't really commented on it, but they did remove the report from their website, so you can't go back and see it. It was completely staged. Now, they had a long line of cars. A couple of real patients came up during this, but they had this long line of cars, all healthcare workers from the testing center. It was completely staged by CBS News and the hospital. And the reason they staged it is because they want to have this narrative that people in Michigan are really concerned about coronavirus. They're lining up at the testing facility, and CBS shows up and there was no one there. So they get, and this is all documented on cell phone video. The healthcare workers doing this did not like doing it. They were told to do it by their boss at the hospital who was working with CBS to set up this fake news. It is textbook fake news. And the CBS picked Michigan, like I say, because of those protests at the Capitol this past week or two with the guys with the long guns and everything. So they wanted to show that these people at the protest at the State House are not representative of the rest of Michigan, that most people are very concerned and they're lining up around the block for testing. It's not true. It was completely empty. Totally staged. And James O'Keefe just did a wonderful job with that. Now, I didn't see it on television yesterday once. And I was watching a little more television news than normal because Trump was talking all day long. Major news story, major cover-up, and by the mainstream media. Has anyone seen this story on Fox News? In fact, James O'Keefe should have been in studio. Well, I guess they don't do in studio right now, but he should have been live on Fox News, and they should have shown the video. But they did not, to my knowledge. If someone saw it on Fox, let me know. I didn't see, it certainly wasn't on CNN or MSNBC. Huge story, fake news, fake coronavirus news from CBS, which has one of those front row seats at the White House press briefing. Huge, huge. And there's a second thing to it. Gayle King, it was her show. And Gayle King was recently in hot water just a few weeks back because after Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash, she was talking about the rape allegation against him, and there was a lot of pressure put on her. So Gayle King, these are two major strikes against Gayle King and her program on the CBS Morning Show within about a month and a half, and a total media blackout on the whole story. And I thought for sure it would be featured on Fox, and to my knowledge, it has not been. All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour. We'll take our break for the top. Steve's joining us. We got a lot more to talk about. Your calls are welcome. Some great calls today. I got to tell you, we've been up at this studio now for a week and a day, and we've been hearing from a lot of new callers. The phones have been much busier than normal, and I think the reason that is we have many more phone lines than we used to have at our own place here at the radio station. And I think a lot of people couldn't get through before and would get discouraged. So we have a lot of phone lines now, which is great, and I think that's allowing more people to get through. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. All right, it's 8 o'clock. We'll take a break. Third hour begins right now.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money
Steve Kane Show.
Network.
This is Steve Kane for Attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revolving
They were on Tucker?
trust.
That's
Listen to
not
one
the
of our
news.
listeners, Ray,
I don't count
talk about
Tucker.
his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel. And one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. You have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go up to Myrtle Beach with my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And Barry says every 3 years at least you got to. I called Barry's office because I had a question. I let the secretary know. I said, look, I'm calling from South Carolina. I know the laws are different, and I'm just asking for information for my sister. Now, most people just blow you off.
You still got to use that mic.
Almost immediately, within a few minutes, Barry himself called me. I asked my questions and so on, and he answered. He was very patient. I was quite a while with him, and talking about.
No, Tucker doesn't count. That's not the news. Tucker, Hannity, and Laura Ingraham don't count. Fox News isn't covering it.
And all of your sponsors, because I've dealt with a lot of them, they all have that you can trust them and you're getting a fair shake.
Steve Kane Show. Call Attorney Barry Siegel right now. Toll free, 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782. Tell him Steve sent you.
I got Scott Messamore here.
You are listening to South Florida's longest Radio Show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO.
All right. Third and final hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, is here because it's the Steve Kane Show. And, you know, in Florida, air conditioning, central air conditioning is life. And, you know, when I lived in Ohio as a kid, we had air conditioning, but it didn't come on that much. And I used to come to Florida during the summer, and I was shocked when I first started coming to Florida as a kid that the air conditioning would be on day and night, 24/7. We didn't say 24/7 back then, but it was on day and night. And I can remember, you know, because up north, you go in, out, you leave the door open, the back door, no big deal, you know, and I'd visit my grandparents, shut the door, you let the air conditioning out, you know. Air conditioning is one of the largest expenses a family has because it's connected to your electric bill. And Scott from Cut My Kilowatts, he's in the business of cutting down the amount of kilowatts that you use in your home, and he has an incredible pandemic special to tell you about to lower your air conditioning usage and lower your electric bill all at the same time, which saves you boatloads of money. Hey, Scott, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's a beautiful hot day in South Florida. This is just the start of the summer that's here, that's coming. So I'm
Are they working?
here to tell people if you can act
Steve,
now.
is it working?
You know, while we have this pandemic going on, we're still working. My guys need work, laid off. They all want to work. We're working. It's a no-contact experience. I mean, we're up in your attic doing the work, and you're in your house. I mean, we don't have to get close to each other or anything. We can all practice social distancing. We can get this work done for you. You can save 50% on your insulation.
Columbus.
And you can actually save more than 50% on your radiant barrier, because right now, when you call and get radiant barrier, I'm going to give you the extra square footage for your roof. So if you've got one of those big pitch roofs that, you know, your house may be 2,000 or 3,000 square feet, but your roof area might be 4,000 or 5,000, right now you can get that radiant barrier installed in your whole roof area for just the square footage of your house.
Now let me ask you about this, a couple things about this radiant barrier, because people are asking me and they have questions. One, how is the radiant barrier different from insulation you may have in your attic? And also, what exactly is the radiant barrier? What does it do, and how does it save money?
Well, the radiant barrier basically is aluminum foil tarp. It has mylar in the middle of it. Can't rip or tear. It comes in like 4-foot bolts, and we roll it out, staple it up in your attic, and it reflects all the heat gain from your roof, shingles, and your tile roof. So if you have an asphalt shingle roof or a dark tile roof, this is really, really important for you because you've got hot roofs in South Florida, and your attics are 140 degrees, and that heat load is sitting on top of your insulation. That radiant energy is beating down on your insulation and penetrating into your house. Your air has to run nonstop all day to counteract the heat gain.
Yeah.
Stop steady.
Mm-hmm. Which look terrible because those white roofs are always dirty. They seem to be more black than they are white if you drive around South Florida. Well, you know, I'll tell you, you know, Scott from Cut My Kilowatts, you want to call him, and I'll tell you this also, if it's getting hot now. I mean, I had my AC on in the car on my way to work at 5 a.m. in the dark, so that, you know, we're not even in the hot time of year yet. If you think your air conditioning may need serviced or replaced or is not working efficiently, before you call the AC guy, call Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. The problem may be that you need this radiant barrier, and your ceiling is getting so hot, your attic area, crawl space is getting so hot, your air conditioning unit is running much more than it would after Scott does what it is he does. Now, this number for Scott at Cut My Kilowatts rings directly to his cell phone. If you miss him, he will call you back, I promise you. 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500. Scott from Cut My Kilowatts. All right, Scott, we'll talk tomorrow, Friday. That's right. Give Scott a call. All right, Scott, you take care. All right, Steve's here. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Happy birthday.
I'm doing good, thank you.
25 years old today, Steve Kane.
I've been congratulated for 2 days in a row. Yesterday wasn't it.
I know, somebody called, Ray called in.
Today's it.
And after the show, I thought it was today, but, you know. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning. Oh, hit the wrong button. There you go. All right, you're on the air. Go ahead. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Al from, I'm in Royal Palm Beach.
Oh, another screenless call slips through. First Catnip Man and now Al the John, who told me he was at the Charlottesville airport yesterday that has a rocking chair every 6 inches and didn't know that. But anyway, go ahead, Al. Where in the world does Al claim to be today?
And who the hell cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Richard Pearl, the Pearl will verify. I purchased the Crystal Harmony. What it does for you, it helps your lymphatic system.
You know, you're, you know, it's an interesting thing. We started a trend. We have a lot of commercials with happy customers of our sponsors. Richie the bus driver.
It's one of our trademarks.
Conservative Doug, and there's others. There's several others. And all of these commercials that you hear with listeners happen spontaneously on the air. And what's been going on since we started with Richie is some people like Al keep trying to audition to get in a commercial so their voice will be on the air all the time. The only people that call in and get on commercials are spontaneous events that happen. But anyway, do you have anything else to say? Because I've got other people on hold. I'm sure they're better than your call.
Ship the Crystal Harmony lymphatic system cleaner. Ask him where.
Oh, well, well, first of all, he wouldn't tell us because it's confidential. But regardless of that, just because he shipped something to you somewhere doesn't mean you were there. Yeah, exactly. All right, Al. All right. Good morning. You're on the radio. Jerk. Good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
All right. What's on your mind? Steve Kane Show. Yeah.
Hannity did have that on his show last night.
Well, Hannity doesn't count. Hannity, Tucker, and Laura Ingraham don't count. Why are you laughing? Why do you think I say that? There's two. No. It's not that. There's two Fox News channels, right? There's the great opinion programming at night, Tucker, Hannity, and Laura Ingraham, and then the rest of the day is the news coverage. That story with Project Veritas released around 9 or 10 o'clock yesterday morning. I saw it on YouTube right not long after I got off the air yesterday. Fox News during the day is news, and it wasn't on there once, that CBS faked a testing center line, which is textbook fake news. It's like that woman that was reporting in Katrina in a boat, and then two guys walked by her. Remember that? It was a similar instance. So, kudos to Hannity for fitting it in after his long-winded monologue. But it's the opinion programs don't count. Because anything that goes on during the opinion programs is seen as partisan stuff. During the news, now I'm very curious to see if that Weekend guy that talks about media bias talks about the Project Veritas release on CBS News. I thought it was a huge story.
And I wanted to say something about that Texas judge, the salon owner. When she was talking to him and saying that she wasn't going to apologize, he never once looked at her. He turned away. He was busy shuffling papers. He didn't even give her the respect. He's getting ready to put him.
He was uncomfortable. He was embarrassed
because he was doing something he knew was wrong. Let me tell you this about judges. There were a lot of judges that were put on trial after the war in Germany, because just because a judge is following the laws on the book doesn't mean what they're doing is right, lawful, or just. And judges have a right to, there's judicial discretion. He didn't have to give her 10 seconds in jail. He gave her 7 days. But you know what? In the end, it helped her out because she's very famous. She probably will have the busiest salon in Texas, and she may end up in Congress.
The sheriffs, they're saying, no, we're not going to follow those illegal laws.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a YouTuber that I watch. His name is Adam the Woo, and he's a very big guy on YouTube. And he was on the beaches of California this week, and they were packed. Even though Governor Newsom said you're not allowed on the beach, you can't jump the beach border, unless you're an illegal alien, then you can go wherever you want, right, in California. Yeah. All right, appreciate the call. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Hey, Brian.
Oh, Sarah in Colorado. Hey, Sarah.
Sarah, how are you? Thank you so much, sweetheart.
So, we were talking about all the things that are happening in this country. And, to clarify, part of the time Colorado is a red state, you just have to look at Denver, Boulder, and a few spots. And the thing is, here, we're dealing with is Pulis, who he says one thing and then the other, and now he's...
Well, now this is an interesting thing. See, Colorado, which is running a version of North Korea, and with the governor there, the governor's orders in Colorado, how far from your house are you allowed to travel? This will shock people, Sarah. Tell people.
10.
10 what? 10 miles. You can only, in Colorado, you're only allowed to go 10 miles away from your home right now.
What is the purpose of that?
A Democrat governor.
Well, but I mean, it makes no common sense.
And Colorado's a vast state. Most people, the nearest gas station, convenience store, grocery store, more than that, your mailbox may be 10 miles away from your house. In Colorado.
Right. And a lot of people are ignoring
I know, it's crazy.
about it anyway.
Where's that in the news? By the way, that thing about in Colorado, you're only permitted to travel 10 miles from your home unless you're going to one of the pot shops. You can go anywhere you can for that, right? Yeah, but it's true. I haven't seen that in the news discussed at all. And you have more freedom of movement in Cuba. You have more freedom of movement in North Korea than you have in Colorado right now, unless you're a stoner and going to one of their pot shops.
So anyway, I was just going to let you know that the other thing that's happening is, and it's pissing a lot of people, you have your beaches, in Florida. Us, we have our camping when we like to go camping up here. And now he's shut that off.
You can't camp. So you can't camp alone in the woods.
No, because he's worried about the spacing.
The spacing?
That's ridiculous.
When people go camping, they're typically they're isolated away from other. You don't want to be close to strangers who are campers when you're camping. Let me ask you, in Colorado, can married people sleep in the same bed, or is that against the governor's order too?
Well, I don't know.
We all got to be like Lucy and Desi with twin beds now in Colorado.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's probably a book.
But you know what, though? Liberals think that's okay. And let me play this clip again. I played this about an hour ago. I want to play this for people that weren't listening then. And again, if you were not listening earlier in the show, shame on you. This show starts at 6, and you should, your alarm clock should be set at 5:55 a.m. so you can be awake and alert, so you can hear the first words that I share. But this yesterday, by the way, Sarah, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Take care. All right. This is some liberal jerk, one of the reporters on MSNBC yesterday. Listen to this.
The fundamental questions to me is what's going to be our relationship to government, the idea of government.
I can't right now.
And we kind of look at it at 3 levels this week.
Yeah, turn it down.
There is a primordial American tradition going back to the founders of being freedom obsessed, even though...
Okay, see that one? Okay, so this is MSNBC. He says there is an obsession in this country of freedom, that we have a history of freedom obsessed people.
Real American tradition going back to the founders of being freedom obsessed, even though we're a country founded on slavery and genocide, being freedom obsessed to the point that we are always so afraid of the government coming for us that we are blind to other types of threats, whether it's a virus, whether it's bank malfeasance, or climate change, what have you. There's also a more recent kind of 40-year version of this, which is the Reagan war on government, right? Government is the problem. That's not just an idea on the right. There's a hard version on the right. There's a small c conservative militant version of it, but there's also, it has infected many people on the left.
Okay, so Americans are obsessed with freedom obsessed, and this guy on MSNBC yesterday, he's very concerned that it's...
Who is that?
He's one of the
familiar.
reporters. No, he doesn't. He's no one you know. I don't know his name. He's not a famous person. He's just one of the reporters on NBC News. He says Americans are freedom obsessed, and it's spreading to the liberals.
Passive sense that, yeah, I believe in government, but I would never go work there, or I believe in government, but I kind of don't like my taxes too high, or I use, trusts in the Cayman Islands. And then there's the more recent Trump era twist in this, which is the war on government becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You undermine government, you undermine it, you undermine it. You put someone who can barely read a sentence in government.
Wow.
It becomes true that government sucks because you've made it suck by telling everybody it sucks. And I think the most important thing that could come out of this is realizing that government is not the biggest threat to our liberty. It can be a threat to our liberty, but we're threatened by many, many things. And what government fundamentally does is protect us from a lot of those other oppressions that we in America are often quite blind to.
Okay, so this discussion started on MSNBC yesterday because they're talking about the salon owner, they're talking about the country opening up, and this guy says we're rushing to it because we're obsessed with freedom and liberty, and it's spreading to liberals, and we should all... Now, keep in mind, he's working. He's at work, and he's getting paid. He's an NBC News reporter, and he's also on MSNBC. He's allowed to work, but you're not, right? And what these news people don't understand, they're so out of touch with it, they think that everyone's job, that the company comes to their house and sets their work up at home. These guys got cameras and studios. I saw a photograph that someone took in Joe Biden's basement when he was doing an interview the other day. He has an entire TV studio set up in his house with a full studio-sized teleprompter on the camera.
They just don't use it very much.
Well, they're using that, but these people in the media think it's very easy for them to stay at home. Like even on Fox, Ducey's kid that's on there, Peter Ducey, right? Peter Ducey, the Politico reporter, he's doing his reports from his one-bedroom apartment. You see him, he reports on Capitol Hill from his apartment now, and a lot of these reporters, they think everyone can sit at home and just work from home like that, and they cannot. 99.99999% of people cannot, and they just don't understand that people's companies can't set them up at home like that. And my wife and I were watching, a couple weeks ago, we were watching Dana Perino on her solo show during the day with her. Well, we're with you. We're in this together, staying at home. And she was all excited. They just set up the TV studio for her at home. And I'm thinking about all these people that aren't working, that like this hairdresser that don't have money for food. And my wife tweeted and tagged Dana Perino during the break, the commercial break. You're being a little insensitive, and she gave her some things about how people don't have TV studios set up at their home and earn 6- and 7-figure salaries sitting at home all day. And she came back from the break, and she had a different tone. I think she read the tweet. They read their tweets during the breaks. Remember that time Fredo was messaging me on Twitter during a commercial break on CNN? During commercial breaks, news people read their tweets to see who tagged them. And she had a whole different tone after my wife tweeted her during the commercial that she was being insensitive. Yeah, and she even apologized for her insensitivity, by the way, after the break. Dana Perino did. And they just don't understand, like Chuck Todd was talking this week about how dangerous it is to leave. Chuck Todd doesn't understand. He does Meet the Press every day from his home, and he makes 7 figures a year, and he doesn't understand that not everybody can sit at home making 7 figures a year, not leaving their home every day. He just doesn't understand why people want to get out of their house. They don't want to get out of their house just to go to the beach, like I keep joking around about, or get a haircut. They don't have money for food. They live paycheck to paycheck. They're not millionaires, Chuck Todd. I mean, my goodness. And I notice all these people that want us to stay home on TV are still getting their hair colored and cut, by the way. You notice there's not if the news anchors and the women on television were not getting their hair done professionally, they would have an ongoing running joke throughout television news about people's hair color and hair length. And you notice there's no discussion of that because they're all getting their hair professionally cut and professionally dyed. The blonde women on Fox are still blonde. I don't see any roots showing. All right, let's take our break. 20 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Steve here. We'll be back right after this.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
Hurricane season is right around the corner, and the predictions are that the 2020 hurricane season will be busier than normal, with 16 named storms predicted, 8 turning into hurricanes, and 4 growing into major hurricanes. That's according to scientists at Colorado State University. That's 3 more named storms and hurricanes, and 2 more major hurricanes than they predicted at this time last year. Do you have the hurricane coverage you need?
Huh?
The coverage you want for your home,
Next break.
or commercial property?
20 after.
In case a hurricane hits, call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Stay-at-home reporters, yeah.
Debbie will review your policy.
Make sure you guys subscribe.
And make sure you have the
I was talking to
coverage
them in the
you
chat.
want, the coverage you need. Once a hurricane hits, it's too late. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors right now. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
We are chatting today with Frank, the owner of 2 magnificent Ace Hardware stores. One, Deerfield Beach, 365 South Federal Highway, about a quarter of a mile south of Hillsborough on the west side of Federal Highway. And the other, Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, half a block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the sea. Well, one of the things I noticed when I first walked into Ace Hardware is that you carry such a wide variety of the big brands all under one roof. It's astounding.
That Ace is new practice. It's called Best Brands. And under one roof, we have major categories. Let me give you an example of 2. Yeti coolers, Craftsman hand tools, Milwaukee hand tools, Steel power equipment, Benmore paint, Weber grills, Napoleon grills, Traeger grills, Big Green Egg. We are a platinum dealer. We have the largest selection of Green Egg products, all under one roof, all with people that are experienced and show you how to use these products.
There are lots of Ace Hardware stores, but there are only 2 that are advertising with the Steve Kane Show.
Steve Kane Show.
The Deerfield location, a quarter of a mile south
Yeah, what's your
of
name?
Hillsborough Boulevard on the west
Owen.
side of Federal. And of course, the Beach Ace Hardware, located at 232 Commercial Boulevard, a half block west of A1A in Lauderdale by the sea. Very, very special locations. Be sure to mention Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, we're back. You're listening to Steve Kane Show. Steve here.
All right,
Yeah.
we are back.
Yeah, did you see Nancy Pelosi was on TV yesterday? She was wearing a mask, and it was a designer mask that cost $22 a mask. You imagine she's wearing $22 designer mask. The woman of the people.
You just
Yeah.
took the words out of my mouth.
The woman of the people. Yeah. Yeah. Now, of course, here on the Steve Kane Show, we are on, if you're gonna, you got to go outside to do that. See, here on the Steve Kane Show, we are have an opportunity for you to get free face covering, and that's at Ace Hardware Deerfield, Ace Hardware, the Beach Ace Hardware location. They're giving free bandanas if you mention the Steve Kane Show that you can wear as a mask, and these bandanas they're giving away at Ace Hardware are they're thicker than the bandanas you see a lot of times. They're bandanas that you would see a construction worker wear or a lawn maintenance crew wear, that they wear to block, you know, from breathing in things at work. And they're also big enough that you can tie it around like a train robber in the Old West behind you. And, you know, and a good thing about them, other than they're free and they come in multiple colors, and they're given away at the Deerfield Ace Hardware and Beach Ace Hardware, when you mentioned the Steve Kane Show, they're washable. And you really want to wash your masks each and every day. I do, and or my wife does. She washes my mask every day because she doesn't think I'll do it properly. She's probably right. But these bandanas that they give you for free at Ace Hardware, you can throw in the washing machine and the dryer, and that's a great thing. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning. All right.
You know what I find very strange about this whole thing? I go to Publix, you know, twice a week. Notice people in Publix say all kinds of people. Thank God none of them have gotten this virus. But they see like thousands of people a day, and they don't get it. And okay, you say wear a mask. And I went to the post office, the same thing. And one woman told me just took the mask off; she couldn't deal with it. And I mean, we're being played with this.
Well, you know, I was at the post office yesterday, and they got all kinds of weird things. But you make a good point about Publix, and I was very surprised at Publix. You know, they take your groceries out to your car, the bagger. They're still offering that service. So a bagger is coming in contact with, I don't know how many people a day, whole families of people, and you're right. A lot of them are retired, and you're absolutely correct. And I always take my own groceries to the car if I can, you know. But they're in contact with God knows how many families each and every day, the Publix baggers. And you make a good point. I haven't heard anything about an epidemic among Publix baggers of COVID-19 in Florida. That's a good point. Well, there are a couple of things with Trump, okay? First, the models they gave him in the beginning were pretty frightening, and he had to do what he did because we didn't know. We got those, that's one. And then two, what happened with Trump, there was a big change in tone with Trump when his friend died. He talked to his friend. The next day, he was in a coma, and then he died. You know, the real estate guy? Yeah, and he talks about him all the time whenever he's talking. And once that happened, Trump changed a lot about this when his friend died. Well, you know, I'll tell you, I went over this story in the first hour. I'll just go over a little bit with you again. It's in the New York Post yesterday. New York Post, 2/3 of New Yorkers, now think about this, 2/3 of New Yorkers hospitalized with coronavirus were admitted from their homes, okay? 46% of New Yorkers hospitalized were unemployed. 37% of them retired. So that means that...
It's all old people.
Not all old people, people that are home and unemployed. So that means 2/3 of the people in New York that were hospitalized were sheltered in place, not having contact with anyone, did not work, and or were retired. 2/3. You know, so, and Cuomo talked about this yesterday, not Fredo, the governor, and he says, well, it's perplexing. It goes against all the data, but we don't, you know, but everybody's still, this is North Korea, you can't leave. It's showing you that the shelter in place, at least in New York, is making it worse. And I think it is because a couple of reasons. One, the nursing homes in New York, a lot of cases out of the New York nursing homes where Governor Cuomo sent all the old people, right? You know, and the other thing is people in the buildings are sharing elevators, small hallways, lobby areas, and all of that. So the shelter in place in New York has made more people sick.
Days or 20 days ago, the number is in a hospital, they lose Medicaid reimbursement. They don't take them back. So they sent them over to one of the shifts they should have done of losing reimbursement.
I don't know. You're getting a little too technical, but yeah. Well, another thing that's going to come out is this, okay? Other than that, Cuomo's orders put people at risk, and a lot of people got sick, and maybe even died because of his arrogance and love of the press conference and the power, you know. I mean, you know, but holding court every day at his press conferences. And think about this. CNN won't carry the Trump press conferences, but they'll carry the governor of New York. I mean, give me a break. Yeah, President Cuomo, yeah. The other thing, though, that's going to come out is this. I mean, I know a lot of conservatives know this, but this will be a part of the mainstream talk when we're back to normal. If the hospitals are losing money big time nationwide, okay, because of all kinds of people are afraid to go to an ER, you know, and all this stuff. If you admit someone under coronavirus, a hospital automatically with no treatment gets $12,000. So there's an incentive to log an incoming patient as coronavirus. That's $12,000 per person. And by the way, that's before treatment. So then you got the treatment cost and the test. And in struggling hospitals, we have a private healthcare system. And, you know, the example I make is with the Intercontinental Railroad, right? Big thing. The government made a deal to pay the railroad builders by the mile. Well, the Intercontinental Railroad's in a zigzag up and down all across the continent. It wasn't a straight line across up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a big zig line because they paid them by the mile. So if you zigzag, there's a lot more miles, okay? And that's what's going on with a lot in the hospitals with a lot of the coronavirus. If you think about it, if you owned a business and every time someone with coronavirus came in and you got paid $12,000, wouldn't everybody have it? I mean, come on.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right, listen, we got to run for a break. Appreciate the call. All right, we'll take a break and be back with Richard Pearl after this.
You've heard the jingle and seen the commercials, and that's right. You will get the best night's sleep you've ever had with a My Pillow. Have you not gotten your My Pillow yet? Right now is the best time to
Huh?
do it.
What are you looking for?
Hey guys, this is Brian's wife, Kathy, and this is
What are you
the
looking
best
for?
time to get
Where are you going?
They have amazing deals. Take advantage of them now.
Go to
Oh,
mypillow.com.
yeah, we're coming back here with Richard Pearl in a minute.
Listener link, and you will see all these great deals. Like the buy one My Pillow, get one for free. There's a BOGO offer right now on the Giza Dream Sheets. Buy one set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets and get the second set free.
You gotta love BOGO deals. They're the best. And you can take advantage of so many right now at mypillow.com.
There's a lot of other deals too. Again, go to
Which is
mypillow.com,
it?
click on that
This
radio
or this?
listener link.
That
You
one.
gotta use the promo code
Yeah.
KANE, K-A-N-E,
You can't use that
to
mic,
get these incredible
but you
deals.
moved. You got to
Right now,
be
check
put this one closer to your mouth.
Radio listener special.
Yeah.
Make sure to use that promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout to take advantage of all of the great deals. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879.
Not yet.
Make sure to use the promo code KANE.
One more commercial.
K-A-N-E. 1-800-716-4879.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
This is Steve Kane for attorney Barry Siegel. Barry did a great job for me and my family when we needed a revocable living trust. Listen to one of our listeners, Ray, talk about his experience with Barry Siegel.
I want to praise Barry Siegel, and one of the most important things about sponsors is integrity. And you have to know that you're dealing with an honest person. I had to go
Yeah.
to Myrtle Beach for my sister because her husband died, and I was helping her out. She had a trust and everything. She had not revised this trust since 1997. And you know, Barry says every 3 years at least you got to. I called Barry's office because I had a question.
You gotta, Steve. You gotta cover your mouth when you cough. You can't be doing it. You gotta cover your mouth when you cough.
I'm more than 6 feet away.
Yeah, but you're coughing towards me. Can't do that. Well, you know, I'm sorry.
He's very patient. I was quite a while with him, and talking about a lot of things, you know, and this and that. But I wanted to say, you know, character, integrity. These are the most important things with sponsors, and all of your sponsors.
Huh? Yeah.
A lot of them. They all have that you can trust them, and you know you're getting a fair shake.
Do what Ray did. Call attorney Barry Siegel right now. Toll free 1-855-FLA-3782. That's 1-855 toll free FLA-3782. Tell him Steve sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for...
Well, my friends, does your immune system need a tune-up? If it does, let me tell you about the man, a good friend of mine, who knows more about the human immune system than any other 12 people I've ever met. Of course, we're talking about Richard Pearl from Simply Natural. Richard, how are you today?
I'm much better than yesterday.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Down, your back is up, that could improve the outcomes for people with the acute respiratory distress syndrome. So it's also called
Hmm. Hmm. Richard, I want you to tell the folks exactly where they can find you at Simply Natural. You work long hours, I'll tell you that. You're always there with a helping hand and a word of good advice. How do they get you? Richard, good talking to you. We'll speak soon, all right? You do.
Well, you know what a big birthday gift for Steve would be? I'm sure what you got there for him is great, so you could stop by after the show, Steve. But do you have a wife over there that you could give Steve for his birthday? Because that's what he really... Yeah. All right, take care. Take care. Take care. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, we're getting out of this. They're gonna open up Palm Beach County, like, real soon now.
That doesn't help.
What?
Keep looking for haircuts.
Oh, you can get a haircut. You can get a haircut. You got to go to Georgia.
I don't want
You go to Georgia.
I want my guy works here.
If you take a flight from Fort Lauderdale to Atlanta, you can get a haircut at the airport.
That's just
Flights are cheap now, though.
Yeah. Just what I want to
You can probably fly to Georgia for $20, and you don't even have to leave the airport. I'm just here for a haircut, No haircuts in Florida. Unless you're on television. I've been watching the local news lately, and they all are getting their hair done.
They bring in...
They're not supposed to. You're not supposed to do that.
Well, the rules aren't made for them.
Yeah, they have to look good on TV.
For us.
Yeah, I know. Yesterday, Cuomo had a great press conference yesterday. He's telling all the people that have left their homes around America to go to New York, he's going to tax them.
Is anyone...
Did you see that?
I used to watch all his news conferences.
They stopped carrying them on Fox, I think. They're still on CNN.
Is there a reason that they're low profiling it for Cuomo? I mean, have people started to go after him for all the dead elderly people he's responsible for?
Yeah, it's coming out. But so yesterday he told all the healthcare volunteers that left to go and volunteer in New York, he's going to tax them. And if you volunteer to New York City, the income tax, you're going to get the city income tax and the state income tax. He said that yesterday.
Did he give a rationale for
Well,
that?
they're working in New York. So they're going to have...
a counter incentive.
Now, they may have... Yeah, I know. For the other day, we need you. Please come. Leave your families. Leave your homes. Put yourself at risk, exposing yourself to COVID-19. And by the way, we're going to tax you. And if you're in...
the privilege
of helping New York, yeah. And if you're helping... and there was a firefighter or a paramedic that died recently. I wonder if his family got to pay taxes in New York on that. Because he volunteered. He left his home, went to New York, and he died. I guess his family are going to get a tax bill from Cuomo.
It looks like we've turned the corner here. Like they're getting ready to have a mass opening. I mean,
Palm Beach is getting ready to open. The county commission broke with Broward and Dade. They've asked the governor to sign an executive order to open up Palm Beach. So Broward will be next. But, Cuomo yesterday, so he had two things yesterday, right? One, he's going to tax the volunteers who have risked their lives by coming to New York to help the people. Yeah. And the other thing, he was reprimanding New Yorkers who are not wearing masks all the time. I haven't seen Governor Cuomo in a mask once. So he's not wearing a mask. Why is he, yelling at people for doing what he's doing?
They evidently have instituted a kind of, I don't know whether it's a daily feature or what it is, but they've got the brother coming on
Fredo
coming on with Andrew.
Yeah.
Right? And they act out these little psychological mini plays.
They hate each other.
So sick. I've
They
never
hate
seen
each other.
anything like it, my lord.
They hate each other.
I mean, if my family was in such disarray, I would never bring them on national television.
They do it all the time. It came out the other
I
day.
watched yesterday's. It was
Oh, I
quite an
missed it.
episode.
I heard about it. I missed it. But they hate each other. They hate each other.
do.
Well, I think they got good reason to hate each other because obviously,
They're despicable people.
yeah, Andrew Cuomo's a jerk who bullied his brother his whole life, and then Fredo went out and got coronavirus and got caught breaking quarantine. So yeah, so they got reasons. I mean, he embarrassed the governor by getting coronavirus, then breaking quarantine, gave it to his wife and his kid.
They really do.
Yeah.
They really do despise each other.
Yeah. This thing with Cuomo yesterday talking about taxing the healthcare workers that came to New York to help New York, that's really disgusting. What a low life. He could not exempt them from income tax and stay there. It was during his press conference that came out yesterday. He was asked about it. Well, they're getting paid if you are a healthcare worker.
Who brought it up on?
One of the reporters, I don't know who they are, they're local New York people. And they're local reporters.
Well, at least Fredo didn't have the.
He didn't ask
at least
about
he
it?
had the common sense not to bring it up.
He might have. I didn't see the interview, but that's a real low life thing to do. It's like I was telling, Richie called earlier. It would be like if Vietnam had an income tax on all the U.S. soldiers in Vietnam during the war. You had to pay income tax, or it's really, he's a real low life.
So do you still remember a theory that we've been kind of following along, that they were looking to set up the convention, the Democratic convention, to give it to
Cuomo, yeah.
You still feel they're moving in that direction?
Yeah, they don't see. Yeah, Cuomo, though, is bad news for him. When it's going to come out how many people died in nursing homes that were sent to nursing homes because of his orders. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff that's going to come out about him. He's going to be one of the biggest villains out of all of this when it's over.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
He's a real he's a real nasty guy. He will, but I would say the odds are he'll be the next. It's a long way off. But 2024, that's after President Trump's second term, I would say Governor Cuomo is the favorite to be the next president after Trump.
That's a lot of.
I would say he's the
a lot
favorite.
of time.
Yeah, but look who else they got. But I'm saying today, I mean, everything could change, but I think he's the favorite in 2024 to be the president. It's not going to be Pence. Pence is a little weak.
I don't think.
Steve Kane show.
I think it's very unfair. He gets that rap because they're subconsciously, when they say that, they're comparing him
to Trump.
To Trump.
I don't know. He seems.
And anybody's going to look.
I like Pence, but he seemed a little. You want to take some more calls?
He seems in charge.
Mike and Boca, you're on the air.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, happy birthday, Steve.
Thank you so much. Hello, yeah. I said thanks. Okay, so one more. Thanks.
So, Brian, when do you think Palm Beach is going to open?
It could be tomorrow. It could be the county commission voted 5-1 to ask the governor to reopen Palm Beach County, like the rest of the state, other than Broward. And so we got one jerk on the county commission who wants to keep us closed. And I'll tell you what's significant about that. To my knowledge, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, it's only by one. It's a Democrat county commission. So, once Palm Beach opens, Broward will be next. The reason Palm Beach is open is because the county north of Palm Beach is Martin County. It's fully open for business. And you can go and sit down there and have a meal in a restaurant. And there's a lot of pressure being put on. It's a domino effect. Broward will be next. Steve Kane Show. Maybe. Well, that's okay. You know, there are people that have daily radio shows on other stations that lose their train of thought.
Sometimes on this show, I lose my train of thought as well.
Sometimes I do, but I just don't tell you. I fake it and quickly move to something else. Okay. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So did Greg Gutfeld agree that he will not take a salary until his viewers can be paid? He said what? Let me tell you, I've been pretty hard on Gutfeld because I don't think he's as funny as he thinks he is, but he's gotten better.
He's developed.
He's gotten better. He's gotten better.
And he's
Yeah.
got somebody that's helping him with his
Writing?
No, not just his writing, but more than his writing, they've done a physical makeover on him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They've got him dressed differently, and he's not so Jerry Lewis like.
And he looks like he's had some major cosmetic work. And you know who he looks like? You know who he looks like? I'll tell you who he looks like. Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. looks like he has the same cosmetic surgeon or whoever is Robert Downey Jr.
What do you think he's had fixed?
But you see, sometimes cosmetic surgeons have a signature, and like, Steve, you had a facelift many years ago, and I'm not going to name some other names, but there were some other famous people that had facelifts by the same doctor, and I can always great work, but I could tell that they had the same doctor because and Gutfeld looks like
Dr. Anderson.
Yeah, who's retired, but Gutfeld looks like Robert Downey Jr. I would say they probably either have the same cosmetic doctor, or their cosmetic doctors work together or train together or something.
It's true that it seems to be some surgery, but more than that, they've really given his image, or he's not with the shirts he wears, with the collars that go up.
He's had some hair work done too.
He looks like a new person.
And his Saturday show is pretty good. It used to not be very funny, and his ratings are beating the other late night shows I was reading this week. And his Saturday night show. See, when he first started doing that show, he didn't have writers. It was just like him and maybe a buddy of his, and I think they've given him writers now.
And the writers are good writers, good show.
All right, appreciate the call, Mike. Take care.
Once again,
Thanks for calling. Oh, look who we have on the line, Steve. We have Attorney Barry Siegel.
Attorney Barry Siegel, the man himself. Barry, how are you today? Very well.
Get it.
Really?
Oh.
Word to the wise should suffice. Excellent, excellent. Barry, give them the number where they can make that appointment with you. Barry, good talking to you, and we'll speak tomorrow, all right? You take care, and we are back.
Oh, no, well, one of those things that you want to protect when you do your estate planning is your gold, your silver, your platinum, your precious metals. We have William Youngerman on the line, Steve.
Which, speak of the devil,
Yeah.
the man who is responsible for all my gold and silver and good stuff, that I never collect, all the things I never collected until I met William Youngerman. And I met him just at the right time. William has been advising clients on trends and movements in the precious metals business for over 50 years. And if you call him now, you got to make up for lost time, because you should have been working on your portfolio before this, but it's never too late. William, how are things looking today? It sounds like a good idea. Stop by. By the way, still time. Mother's Day is what, Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Still time to get a beautiful gift for Mother. There's a lot of wonderful stuff with William Youngerman. And drop by. The prices are unbelievable. William basically sells items, jewelry items and things like that at the price of what the metal weighs. And that results in huge savings for you. So if you want to get something nice for Mom, stop by William Youngerman, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. That's the Bank America building. You'll find William on the first floor, directly across from the bank. You can reach him at 1-800-327-5010, or go to the website at williamyoungerman.com. William, we'll talk to you tomorrow, all right? You too, and we're back.
Yeah. Oh, man. I tell you. So we've been here a week and a day in our new place.
Yeah. I really like it. I mean, I'm getting used to the drive, which helps too.
Yeah. It's actually a longer drive here for me than our old studio. You might not think it is, but it is a little long. But I like it here better. I like it here. I like working standing up. Someone asked if I have to stand up. No, there's a chair here. I just like, it's better to stand up if you can.
And do you know why? Because it gives you more energy.
Yeah. And I like having the window. It's nice having a window with a view.
Gorgeous view of the entire Miami Beach area.
And we can see that far? It looks like,
Yeah.
but you can almost see the ocean from
Yes,
here.
you can.
Almost. There's some trees. It's closed. You can't go there.
Pastoral setting here.
Yeah. So Palm Beach is going to open up real soon, even though,
And we're going to be
it's
back
a Democrat
with
town.
more hearings. I can't wait. It looks to me like
Oh, yeah.
what's his name has overstepped
Schiff.
himself. Schiff looks like he's in some big trouble. I'd love
Yeah.
to see that. Love to see that.
I support Schiff having more hearings. I was talking about this yesterday. If Schiff can have congressional hearings, certainly the entire country can be opened up. If they can have congressional hearings in Congress, in these rooms, there's no reason why you can't open up the whole country and get everyone back to work.
I agree.
So let's support hearings. I'm glad we're not hearing from Fauci and Birx every day.
By the way, we were talking before about cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
You know who's had the most dramatic, very, very current cosmetic surgery? Schiff.
Oh, really?
It's bad surgery too. It's, of course, they didn't have that much to work with, but
yeah,
he's
it's true.
so tight as a drum. And
really?
Oh, yeah.
You think he got cosmetic surgery during a pandemic?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's recent.
He's my least favorite person in Congress by far.
He is a stomach turner.
Well, he is just, he's pathological. He has no conscience. He's just evil.
It's just hard to believe there's a party out there that would elect people like Schiff.
Well, his district covers Beverly Hills. So that's,
It tells you what you need to know about Beverly Hills.
Yeah, exactly. That they elected him.
Really?
Oh my goodness. But the Space Force is real, and they released their first recruitment ad. Space Force. It's a video. It's a TV ad, but I'll play you the audio. This is not a joke. I don't believe this is some pair. But no, this is an official recruitment television commercial for Space Force, and I'll play you the audio.
Some people look to the stars and ask, what if? Our job is to have an answer. We have to imagine what will be imagined. Plan for what's possible while it's still impossible. Maybe you weren't put here just to ask the questions. Maybe you were put here to be the answer. Maybe your purpose on this planet isn't on this planet.
Yeah, the Space Force. That's pretty. But if the liberals
I tried to talk my son into
joining Space Force, he could transfer it.
Well, he's going to transfer. He's got his plans worked out. I think he wants to move from where he is now, which is Army Tank Corps, into Army Air Corps.
Yeah.
He wants to fly.
He wants to fly helicopters, and they are. The Space Force, though, the left, if they want, I give the left a tip if they want to try to run for this. Try to make something negative out of Space Force. The narrator is African American. There are many people in the commercial, but the main person, the recruit, he's also black. So is Donald Trump trying to send black people into space? I don't know, because this Space Force ad is directly marketed towards African Americans with the voiceover and the high school kid that they're trying to recruit in the ad. So Trump's trying to send black people into space, wants them to leave the Earth. Just a little tip over there at the fake news media. You can run with that one.
I'd rather see him in space than in the Tank Corps.
I wouldn't want to go into space. No way. You couldn't pay me to go into outer space. Are you kidding? First off, in space, no one can hear you scream. You know that one, right?
Yes, I do.
Alien. I wouldn't go up into space. There's no way. Alien. I was Alien.
Oh, yeah.
In space, no one can hear you scream. No, but there's nothing could convince me to go into space. Forget about it.
When I was young, a long time ago, for Sigourney Weaver.
Oh my! Well, she wasn't bad looking back then.
Very sexy.
You haven't seen her lately.
Well, what can I say?
No, there's nothing would get me to go into outer space. Nothing. And Space Force.
You're the big advocate for the stars.
No, this is movies and TV shows, not the. In this video, they show these huge rockets going up. Oh my goodness! I did talk. I was talking. You know what? It's time. We got to say goodbye. It's 9 o'clock. Lost track of time. We're all out of time. We'll see you tomorrow.
5.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.
Well, that clock is a minute
1470.
off.
WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.
All right, guys. See you later. Take care.